This is Q Talk America.
The following broadcast contains adult humor, language, and topics, along with partial nudity. Actual knowledge is used sparingly. This show is a result of a lost bet and a bad game of rock, paper, scissors. It's The Show with Clayton McKee. And now, a man with a face for radio, Clayton McKee.
I almost had a technical right out of the gate only because I didn't know what I was doing. But that's really not uncommon, actually. Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's The Show. It's a Tuesday night. You're in Studio C along with myself. I've got Kat Carlson. Al Perkins is back in the contiguous 48 states of the United. Right here. Welcome back, Alfie.
Yep, American. Oh, I don't think I'm on.
Oh, you're there. You're there.
Oh.
Your headphones may need to be adjusted because
Bootsy.
Daniel Ray said that this is way too loud.
Yeah, Bootsy
yeah,
had
'cause
to
I
turn
can't hear
way.
anything.
Okay, well let's bring Al back up to his own. Are you better?
Can you hear me now?
Or is he? Wait, is he guest? I think he's guest. Yeah, he's guest. So there you go.
There you
it.
go.
Oh my.
Now that's too loud.
Too loud.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
It
'cause
was funny because I'm like, I can just hear you guys like outside
normal.
of, yeah.
Yeah,
Better now?
I was like, I'm going like this.
we thought Bootsy's head was going to explode in the first 60 seconds of the show, and he's like, "Whoa, no."
It occurred to me he'd never worked in the bar industry.
Yeah.
Oh, fast.
He still has all of his hearing.
Yes,
Yeah.
most all of it intact. Yes, he does.
The rest of us are at about an 8 on the scale.
That's pretty accurate for
Yeah.
so many years of listening to.
I meant basically deaf.
Yeah. Turns out all that gets
Right.
to you after a while.
Yes. Well, remember he grew up in a basement with headphones on, listening to everything he could.
And I do remember very, like, before the headphones were purchased, the first pair, like a big discussion about, like, hearing loss and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
And, like, swearing on a
In one ear and out the other, right?
yeah, stack of Bibles. And, I'll
Never
be
too
so
loud.
careful.
I'll never turn that past 7, Mom. I swear.
Yeah.
I'm sure that didn't.
We
work
lie
out.
best when we lie to ourselves and our parents.
Of course. Oh my heavens! The chat room is already up and going. Summer and Jenny are in there. Danielle is in there as well. Missy,
Aaron
of
was
course.
in for a moment.
Oh yeah, Aaron started us out. Aaron from LA. He started us out early, pre-show. Pardon me, pre-show actually.
And it's 80 somewhere.
80
Jenny
degrees?
is saying that it's 80 where she is in Santa
Oh.
Barbara. We are not.
Isn't it always 80?
No, it's
there?
107 or 106 right now in our.
It's cooling off though.
Phoenix
It's down to 101. So break out the sweaters, girls.
Wow. But we are in that time of year. But it got a little hot, a little quick to us. Like all of a sudden it was like did it and then boom.
But it happened awfully late.
Oh no,
Oh,
it did.
yeah.
No.
Don't
I
start
agree.
complaining because
Yeah.
it
Oh,
happened
no.
so late.
Do not misrepresent me giving factual information as complaining.
Yeah.
No, it's currently 103 degrees Fahrenheit here in Phoenix, Arizona, according to Google and all of their information on.
Yeah, and it's not even ice cream weather. It's got to be 105 to justify any and all ice cream. Once it's
fair.
105, whatever ice cream you want, perfectly legitimate.
All day, anytime.
I
Yeah,
have
just-
never had rules that justified my consumption of ice cream.
I'd like to offer it up to people.
Why?
Just so you don't feel guilty. Like once it hits 105, just get your
Because
fucking
some people
ice cream.
just do feel
Some
guilty,
people, yeah, they
sure.
feel
These
like.
are people who've had tragic lives, apparently. I've never felt guilty, ever, of ice cream, ever.
But at 105, just go right to the ice cream.
Anything.
Go right there.
frozen will do.
Shove anything frozen in your
Just-
mouth.
Gnaw on a pork chop, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes to bring down your internal body temperature.
Although I do have to say the 101 is like my ideal pool weather. Mm-hmm. That
Okay.
101 because then the pool water is nice and warm, but
Yeah.
not too hot.
It's not to a full boil
Right?
yet.
It hasn't
I was
started
so-
to boil. It's just
I-
a mild simmer.
My mom is in the chat room right now. Hi, Mom.
Hi,
I was
Mom,
surprised when I talked to her earlier today that she has not been fully in the pool yet. She's well, to quote her, she's a wuss, and she's still just doing like the up to the knee thing. And I don't know, her pool hasn't gotten as warm yet. I don't know why.
Today was the day for it. I was out running some errands with the kids and about 4:30, and we got home and I was like, nope. Everybody get in the pool, otherwise I'm going to kill you all.
Yeah.
And that's what happens to
And
us in the
potentially
afternoon.
drown them in the pool, depending on how that
And
would
you,
work.
you
They're
always,
good swimmers.
and you
They're
always,
good
no matter what the temperature, you just got to jump in. That whole walking gently into the pool never goes well.
Maybe that's it, Mom. Tomorrow you just jump in.
Cannonball!
Yeah, cannonball right in. You'll be fine. Water is crystal clear. It's
You
gonna
should
be lovely.
Snapchat that to
And
us.
I'll still do it like when I go home. When I go home to New York in the summer, I'll still do the. Oh, maybe I'll just take a couple steps down. And like, no, you can't do it
Can't
Okay.
do that.
because
It's
then you get to the
cold.
crotch level, and it's like, no, I can't stand the shock.
So
you
you've
just
got to
gotta
take
jump.
the whole thing.
You just got to jump in.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you can't half-ass it. You got a whole ass.
You got a whole ass.
That's good advice.
I've heard it before.
Oh, I've never heard that before. It must be from a movie.
Sure is.
I don't
I'm
even
sure it
know.
is.
I
Or a
don't even
TV
know.
series.
Oh, it could be from TV.
One of those two. I'm not sure. There's a lot going on.
Go with that.
What is that? What is that? Is that a new phone case or a new phone?
Just a new phone case.
Oh, okay. It's
Same old
shiny.
phone.
It seems shiny and pretty.
It's shiny and clear. Now
Is
it
that those
shows off
Peel
the
people?
beautiful. What? The phone?
Yeah, no, the case. Because I saw this all over Facebook now. They're advertising this Peel, this
Oh, I don't
cover
know.
that's not bulk, so it's no extra bulk.
Yeah,
it's
this
supposed
one's awfully thin and it's see-through. Because I do have the blue Google Pixel and I bought it,
to be blue.
to be blue.
Right, and I don't recall the previous case could not have been blue. This is stimulating talk radio,
Right.
ladies and gentlemen. But I don't think the previous case was clear because I don't remember it being blue.
As it turns out, the previous case was a little bit thicker and was only the edge bumper. It actually had no back to it. So if I
still
would
don't
ever
remember
turn
blue.
my phone down so I couldn't see it, because why would I do that?
Right.
Yeah.
You might have seen blue.
And I sense the theme now. I see your blue Surface and your blue
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
She's
My
everywhere.
gosh, it's everywhere.
You often wear that blue plaid shirt, at least in the winter.
Yeah. She's going
That
through
shirt
a blue
is in
period.
every picture.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's been a lot of pictures.
Every
yes.
picture.
I'm very
Yeah.
used to looking similar in several pictures. It's quite all right. It works out well
In
for
fact,
me.
now I just call it my photo shoot picture.
Yeah, you should.
Or my photo shoot shirt. You know what I mean? Next time I know that I'm going to have pictures taken, I go, oh, I should probably wear this
Take
shirt.
this shirt.
Just carry this along.
Yeah, I have a blue T-shirt with a gray ringer collar that made it on way too many trips and has been photographed way too many places. And it's a little the worse for wear because it also matches my bathing suit. So it goes to the beach. It's been filled with sand.
Oh.
It's a shitty, worn-out shirt that I had to start being like, no, you can't come on vacation anymore.
You have to stay home.
You can't because
You can't sit with us
you seem to
anymore.
always be at the place where people take pictures and it looks like I go on vacation with one shirt.
Well,
I
in
mean-
the pictures that you've submitted thus far, I've seen two shirts
Yeah,
that you've taken. So I think that's plus.
I feel like
that may be one of them.
I think it is too.
Right.
Good times with that.
That
though.
is actually probably true.
Yes, indeed.
It's just clothes. Who
Because I
cares?
think there's 4 pictures of me from the whole.
Well, we're going to get into it in a
adventure.
minute. We got a whole series of pictures of Alfie to show in a bit. And I was hoping to wait for the Ryer to get here before she's a couple minutes away at
She's
least.
here. I keep hearing her voice. Is she out there on the
No,
phone?
I had the audio feed out there playing just so I could verify.
oh.
So we were repeating out there, and I just shut that off from here so I could. I don't need to hear us repeat because it
We're
freaks
just
me out.
confusing ourselves
It
by
freaks
listening
me
to
out
ourselves
too.
in another room.
I just was concerned because now that we're new and we're back and we're better than ever with our audio only feed to all those people who cannot listen due to bandwidth issues.
Cannot watch.
Or cannot watch, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I just want to make sure that they're taken care of.
Oh, that's so sweet of you.
I am trying to figure out, and maybe I shouldn't worry about it, but it just seems interesting to me. We get, I have an app that shows us 24/7 exactly who's listening, or IP addresses and usually countries of where they're listening. And I know we've talked about that before on this show, but I've been noticing of late there is a listener. Of course, right now they are not on there, but it's an IP address that's unknown. And I found out it's some other company that does web servers and some other stuff, but they were on for like 10 or 15 days consecutively. And I kicked them off and they came right back on. So to me, that seemed like an automated system that was just reconnecting.
Mm-hmm.
And I've emailed them a couple times and I got one response, but not other than just a welcome. I'm trying to figure out who they are, what they're rebroadcasting us to. So
Mother
maybe
Russia.
Maybe well,
I
it
was
could
just gonna
be.
Say, ooh.
Could be because I don't know
The Russians.
where we would be broadcasting, but it would be cool to find out because then potentially new listeners and or viewers could pop up from the great beyond. And I don't mean death; I just mean beyond
Right,
beyond
that's-
local. That's what I mean. The great beyond outside of here.
Like the Bed Bath and Beyond.
Beyond,
that
Yeah,
part of
right,
it's
Beyond.
from the Beyond part. Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely.
I seem to always be in the Beyond part of Bed Bath and Beyond. Like the toaster oven. Like, really? Here?
Totally. Yeah, that's neither bed nor bath. In fact, if you put it in the bath, I feel like bad things are going to happen.
Then you're going to
you.
the great beyond. Then you're on
Do
your way there.
not do not put the toaster in your bath with you plugged in. That's a bad idea. Very
Right.
bad.
And Amina has joined us. Welcome
Hello.
aboard.
Amina and I were going back and forth earlier this week on Facebook. She was commenting on a picture of mine. It was kind of funny. So I've talked to several of these people this week. It's been crazy.
Several of
Very
these
personal.
people.
Chatted, if you will.
So what have you
Very
now,
connected to our people.
Did I miss anything exciting last week with the show? What went on?
We had a show.
We did have a show.
had a lovely time.
Marn wasn't here because she didn't have a voice. And now she texts. She's en route. I'm assuming she has a voice this week.
Oh, that's true. It was a very Three's Company kind of.
But we had
endeavor.
it was fun. And
Daniel Ray played Chrissy.
And Daniel got to figure out what the bells of innuendo were about. A couple times he used them inappropriately, but we taught him, no, that's not innuendo, that's real. So we got him through that.
The bells of innuendo.
So no, but it was a good time. We talked about all kinds of stuff, and I honestly didn't think we were going to fill as much time as we did. And come
Looks
to find
like
out,
we made it, yeah.
she talks a lot too.
Yeah.
A couple people in the chat room were like, did Al get hair? Like, no, did Al get hair and taller and like bearded and like all these things? What are you in a witness
In a
protection?
week?
Exactly. It was my witness protection week.
Everybody thought he was around the world, but he was actually here in town.
Hiding from the Ruskies.
Exactly. Oh.
The Libyans.
Yes, the drinking word was dedicated to you. That's very true. It was Vesuvius, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I called the show Mounting Vesuvius.
It's got a certain ring.
Very clever with the puns.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're
Sure.
getting better at them.
So anywho, you've done, aside from our lovely show last week, what have you done this week?
Nothing.
Really?
No, pretty much nothing.
It's that summer break. It's really, you're liking it.
The gym, the couch, the children, the
Three
work.
things,
I
that's four
worked
things.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
That's about all. Yeah,
Sorry?
I can't think of a single noteworthy, out of the ordinary thing that I've done in the last 7 days.
Okay.
Which is okay. I feel like that's
Well,
allowed.
it's your summer break. I mean,
every once in a while.
you've ramped down based on your book
I
fairs and your other stuff, so I think
I
you're
have
good.
none of those projects.
Right.
Yeah. I made bread today.
Oh,
Ooh.
and you didn't Brant? Usually you bring bread.
I do bring bread a lot of times. No, I just made some for the week. I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
bring
I see.
extras.
I gotcha.
Yeah, sorry. I'll make
And
some next week.
Now, because I know how you are, you're not as bad as Katie June was with projects and things, but I know you've cleared your plate. You've started.
Yes.
You started the summer.
This is the most extracurricular like commitment.
This
that
right
I have.
here,
This
this show.
It. This is the
How somewhere, and maybe it hasn't happened yet, but it's coming. There's something that you're gonna agree to do, or you're gonna say, I could just do that. I could start doing that.
I could start doing that. Sure, I do that for you.
I didn't know. I just didn't know if there was something already that you're sensing or seeing that's coming.
Which is so funny because when you do open up that space, things like start to kind of poke their heads up. There's a couple of guys that come into the bar that are trying to start a nonprofit that's focused on just cleaning up public lands in Arizona. Because they said their pet peeve is they like to go for walks in wild places and whatever. And being the gun-happy state that we are, once you get outside the city limits, apparently the wilderness is riddled with like bullet casings and shot-up items.
Okay.
Like everything from refrigerators to couches to anything you could shoot at, which is everything,
Yeah.
Right.
is just out there in the world. And so they are, getting their feet kind of wet in starting up this nonprofit to start, going on expeditions and cleaning and awareness and all this kind of stuff and lobbying and whatever. And so I was kind of chatting with them, and I chatting with them at the bar, so only a little bit here and there.
Right. In between beverages.
Right, in between beverages. And so the one guy comes in, and we talk for a little while, and he says, well, I'm going to bring my partner in. When are you here next? Okay, good. Brings his partner in. And I said, oh, good, I'm glad you came back, because I can't remember what you were called. I was going to look you up. And they said, well, we don't even have a website. And I was like, what are you people doing?
Yeah.
You need the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, it's easy. Here, look at my website. Anybody can do it. I'm like, well, how much do you charge? I'm like, well, I don't know.
You gotta figure that out.
Right. I have no idea. And I also don't know that I want the job. Because I don't know that I want another job right now. But yeah, like little things like that.
Getting
perk up.
them launched is one thing, or giving them the direction is one thing.
Sure.
But yeah, I understand the commitment, because apparently that sounds like you're going to drive all over the state and clean out junk from trails.
Which sounds like a lovely weekend project. That would be a great thing that I could do with my family even. You know what I mean? Like take the kids out and pick up trash. That's a great thing to do. And
it
to
teaches
teach.
them. Sure,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. I'm not ready for the thing yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all.
But you're right. As soon as you clear all that space, all of a sudden things start popping up. And I know that like AIDS walk season is coming faster than we know.
Oh God, yeah.
Well, in fact, tonight, and I would have gone had we not had the show. There is a Pride March in Tempe tonight, or Heritage. What is it? It's I forget what the exact title was, because I was talking to Justin Owen about it. And then I saw the event on the Facebooks
And then there's another gay something march on Sunday, and I thought to myself, and it's like a national thing, I thought to myself,
No, it's a world thing, isn't it? On the 11th?
is it? Either way, I thought, what gays in this world scheduled a freaking march to conflict with the Tony Awards?
Well, they
What
don't always know when the awards
fuck?
are.
I've known for months.
I understand, but they probably
It is bad plan.
they probably booked a lot more than that.
The
just to get-
LGBTQ National Pride March on Washington planned for June 11th.
Oh,
And I was really hoping to get to that, but no, there's no time. But there's also one in Hollywood, California. It's supposed to be all over the country, so look for it near you. Find out when you can get it on it.
I believe that's
it is specifically to protest Pence and to celebrate Gay Pride Month.
Gay people, right?
Yeah, Gay People Month, and
which for those of you who are not from
Gay
our local
People
area and don't know, we had our Pride early April, first weekend of April, actually. The reason we do that and we don't do it like in June, July, August, like everybody else, is because it's way too fucking hot in Arizona to
We
do
just
it.
covered that. It's 107. Who's
No,
going
right,
out to Pride
but
parades?
Inevitably, somebody's going to come and go, well, when's your Pride? It's coming up? I'm like, no. We do it when it's
Yeah.
almost...
Long ago.
God, you scared me.
Hi, Marn.
And it really did, because it became kind of a circuit party kind of feel where people wanted to go to different cities and they wanted to travel around and see them. And I think we bowed in with like the earliest possible date.
Yeah, I think ours really is. I think ours is because LA is either just had theirs or it's coming up, and then they just did. Long Beach's is done. San Diego's is coming up in July.
Long Beach is mid-May. San
And Long
Diego's
Beach is
not
a
till
is a
July.
fun one. If you've never been, if you get a chance
I
to
have
go
always wanted to go. I've never been there.
for some reason, Long Beach puts together a really fun Pride. I've gone once or twice.
And if I'm not mistaken, like the entire city gets behind that. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
Long Beach is a smaller city, but they everybody gets involved.
everybody's involved, and it's a
very
really fun atmosphere. The weather's pleasant.
What are you
I'm
doing?
super.
Oh, you are. Mark. You're super.
You are.
with your puzzle pieces shirt.
Autism.
I figured
Autism
as much.
awareness. Yeah.
Got it.
Margarine. How nice. Yes, I saw that last
Sure.
week. That was delightful.
Migraine, margarine.
I like it.
Feeling better? Voice is back.
Hello.
Yeah.
Very good.
La, 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 la.
Any actual determination of what the illness was, or no?
I think it's from screaming at the dogs. And Mom and,
Everybody?
Everybody. Just,
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just went away.
Yeah.
And then this morning I didn't use it for I don't know how long. Like I got up and I was just on the computer and I thought, I should try that out.
Yeah. What if that works today? Yeah.
So then I'm all right. So yes, but lovely.
Did it work
Lovely
immediately?
to see you. It
Good to
sure
see
did.
you.
Okay. Well, sometimes you have to
You
build
never
up.
know. You do. You do.
I surprise myself sometimes.
Hi,
I
Mina.
wake up and the voice is much lower than I ever. It should.
I am B. Arthur risen from the grave every day. Like hello. It's awful. It's
We have a
awful.
sales rep. When I order equipment for the company, we have a sales rep, and I forget her. Lisa something is her name, and she's like the Marge Simpson of this company.
Right.
She's I'm sure been on the phones since the 70s. She's smoked her entire life. She's
Atta girl.
she's such a bubbly, fun person, but when you call. Good afternoon. This is Lisa. Can I? It's like Harvey Firestein.
Yeah.
If you want. This is Lisa, and whatever my issue is, Lisa can help. Oh, I'd be so glad to look that up for you. And then she goes and she comes back, and it's hilarious to me, but she's just so pleasant.
Yep.
And I think I'll be back. I gotta take a Territon break, and she runs out and smokes a pack. I don't know.
Just a sip of scotch.
Something.
Right? She's got a thermal mug.
Just a little nip.
Somebody's gonna be right with you.
Yeah. Maybe not me.
Yeah.
Maybe not me.
I'm gonna transfer you to financial services.
We were listening to the 80s on Sirius
80s on
Radio,
8.
whatever.
Oh.
And Nina Blackwood.
Blackwood.
Oh,
came
my
on.
gosh,
Do you
yeah.
remember? I don't know.
Yeah.
You do too?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if anyone in the chat room remembers Nina Blackwood, but dear Jesus.
Oh
And
my
it
God.
sounds like it hurts.
It
Oh,
sounds
no, you're
like
right.
Brenda Vaccaro's like, that's awful.
Awful.
How does anyone understand her? Terrifying.
Because I was telling him I've been listening to the 80s on 8 because
it,
I
yeah.
have someone paid for it. My car was a demo model.
Okay.
So somebody paid for the Sirius. I don't know how long I'm going to have it or Sirius.
Usually
I still
like
don't know what
90
the hell
days,
that.
but you've had your car longer than that,
Yeah,
haven't you?
I don't know what the hell that station's called, but I have it and I listened to it, and I was and they've had Mark Goodman and Mark Cuban and
No, Mark Goodman. Mark Cuban is the guy from Texas on Shark
Okay.
Tank. Yep.
Mark
Mark
Cuban,
Goodman.
Alan
Mark Goodman.
Hunter.
Yeah.
Oh,
Martha
JJ.
Quinn.
Oh, JJ's dead.
JJ
right?
Jackson is dead.
JJ Jackson's dead.
A long time
I
ago.
I had heard Martha Quinn a couple times and thought she sounded pleasant. I'd heard
Exactly the
Mark
same.
Goodman
Yeah.
and sounded the same, and I could picture them in happy memories of Video Killing the Radio Star came back. And then I was pulling out of a parking lot when The Voice of Death came on. And I was like, oh, I was like, that. I honestly wanted to like write her and tell her a
Don't
lozenge.
you remember that
Yeah.
1980s song by
Tell her what Cliff to the Heart.
God.
Oh wait, I'm gonna see if I can find her right quick.
Oh my God, because it really is startling. Just startling.
Oh, here, I did do the wrong thing.
Well, and Amina, it's
Chatting
different.
with Johnny Joelli of Hardline about his first solo album, his career, and just about everything.
Right.
Yeah, do you see what? It's different than.
Right, this is a couple
it-
years ago.
Right, and it's totally
It's
different
gotten- it's
than
gotten
is
worse.
it
Yeah.
male
Is it
or female? It's not about a gender thing. It's about COPD.
Yeah, my guess is emphysema. Like it really does sound
Emphysema,
bad.
absolutely, because it's just like, oh my goodness, it was. And having listened to her and watched for all
those years.
it was like,
Yeah.
what's happening?
And to me,
Poor Nina.
and it just happenstance. I'm not exactly sure how all of them were chosen back in the day. I'm sure there's a Wikipedia page about this, but to me, you know, they brought them all back for 80s on 8 on Sirius XM, and well, except for JJ because it's still dead.
Still dead.
there's that.
But they all have such a distinctive voice to me. Like when I hear them, again, Alan Hunter sounds exactly the same to me. Mark Goodman the same. Nina just is a lot more raspy. But it takes
But
me.
she sounds the same.
Sound-
I mean,
right.
you can tell it's her.
Right,
It's just
but
that.
it takes me right back to 84, 85, that whole
Right.
period when we would just sit on the floor and watch MTV and be amazed at whatever was coming on.
Seidel used to threaten me within an inch of our life because I don't know, you guys will be a little startled by this, but I've never been timely, and so having not been,
I got to work on
timely-
that surprise face.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. You gotta. I know. What?
look at this
yeah,
face.
it's like that.
What?
And so, having not been timely, and you get to school late, and blah 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 blah, and then they frown upon that. So then you have to stay after a little while.
Oh yeah, they do.
Detention, they
Well,
call it that.
I didn't want to use the word, but yes,
Okay.
detention. And
D-Hall.
Exactly.
Right.
Lisa always used to get very upset because I would drive her home.
Right.
My best friend Lisa from grade school, high
right.
school, and she had to be home by 4:00. Like by 4:00, there was no. You can't not
No
be.
two ways about it.
Because
Well, it wasn't TRL.
Motley Crue was the #1 song, and we knew that.
Okay.
Home Sweet Home.
Right. And they played it at 4:00.
At 4:00
Right.
was
That's when the number
like
one,
the
yeah.
number one was,
Sure.
and we would have to fly into her house, down the stairs, and like jump over furniture to get that damn TV on.
I would pay money
that's funny.
to watch
Yeah.
you
Oh, we absolutely
fly
did.
in
Yeah.
downstairs
Yeah.
and jump and hurdle furniture.
And hurdle furniture to like stab it, and then we just sit there and watch.
Yeah.
She was watching Vince Neil, and I was watching Tommy Lee.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah.
You always go for the drummer.
Well, actually, back in the day, I mean, I just saw Tommy Lee on some interview recently, and I'm like, whew, aged.
Yeah.
Like, not like Eddie Van Halen though. Holy
Holy
shit!
shit! Right,
But-
right. Who
but-
also is Valerie Bertinelli, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Because they look so much alike.
No,
they really
Not
did.
anymore, but back in the
Back in
no.
the day.
Valerie is gorgeous.
I know, but back in the day, they really did kind of
Oh
look alike.
no, they were like both a hairband, just the two of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
they
That's true.
really do.
She maintained, and he just
Yeah.
kind of
Woo!
yeah. Very much so,
Anyway,
but
digress.
both Vince and Tommy Lee, good-looking people back in the day.
they really
painted
were.
like whores in church.
Oh,
but
completely.
That was the '80s. For crying
Yeah,
out loud.
absolutely. That was the fun, kind of the glam band. It was very good.
That was a
that's-
lot of makeup.
Yes, it was.
I really did, Meow. Like, I was really great at that. I
Yeah.
was very limber then.
Stick in the dismount.
Tuck and roll, tuck and roll.
Stop, drop, and roll.
I could just imagine you.
Oh my
two.
God, we
I
did.
still love those commercials.
Well, Saito would be like, "You have to run down," because she was the girl, and she'd be like in her flats, like slipping all over the place. You have to run down there.
Why was there a pre-warm-up time for the fucking TV?
Yeah.
No, like you had to get the old TVs.
Right, but
You had to get down there. I was getting back late because I was in detention.
no, I understand that all
Yeah.
that, but like I didn't understand like when our TV turned on, it just came on.
But if you got down there at 3:59, you had to like dun 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 dun.
All right.
Dun, 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 dun.
Why weren't you recording it? Why wasn't she setting her beta or VHS?
Because she's not Clayton McKee.
Oh.
We didn't have
I'm
those
sorry.
things.
I did. I have.
In 86?
Oh my God, we got ours in 84, 3 or 4.
Wow, we did not.
In fact, I
And
have.
she was a good Catholic family of 5. They couldn't afford that.
Oh bullshit!
I was saying,
I have the tapes on the other side of this wall in a bookcase. I have all of the ones because I used to record. And my theory was there's never going to be a time I'm
Ever.
going to be able to see these videos ever again.
course.
So you recorded everything,
Right.
every favorite video. This that.
What did
But
you have the video.
I have VHSs.
Sure.
I have 6-hour-long VHS
God.
tapes of commercials and videos that I thought I'd never see again. I didn't know YouTube
makes
was ever
I,
going to
and
come.
I taped over
God,
all
that
of
makes
those.
really good
But I
sense.
really would like to go back and sit down and just fast forward through
Oh.
6 hours of that just to watch old commercials. Not so much
Oh,
for the
yeah.
videos, but old commercials and what they were pushing.
We'll get
or-
some booze one night and
well,
sit
and
here.
to hear the response,
Since
like the
I-
responses about the video.
Since I have a
and-
VCR still, we'll have to do it here because I do have one.
But I did that for a while, where I would go to bed and be like, I can't stay up, but they're debuting some band that only I had ever heard of
Right.
at 2:00 in the morning. I'm like, fuck that noise. I'm going to bed. But I would tape all the hours, hoping they would play it more than once.
Sure.
Not realizing I could just rewind it.
And then there was the
Oh.
kind of would wake up and or hear music like being played throughout the day, and you'd hear like your favorite song was going to come up,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had to dive bomb to get the press record and play at the same
Oh, yeah.
time. And then some motherfucker always was talking into the beginning of it or right at the end.
Well,
Oh, and radio stations would do that.
Yes.
When they
Yes.
would talk over a fade out. Oh, they used to annoy the
I was
shit
like,
out of
I
me.
got
The
it.
mixtapes really hard.
yeah, we had a DJ,
it
but
really did.
when before I got started out of high school and in radio, there was a DJ who took requests, and I forget what the big deal was, but like on a Friday or Saturday night, because he knew all the youngsters went home with their boom boxes.
Sure.
They would do the request, and he would announce, "I'm playing XYZ. I'm playing whatever song it is." And I'm not talking, like, and he would announce, I'm not talking before or after. And he'd literally let it play
it.
in dead air so you could isolate it.
I love it.
Again, because nobody ever thought any of this music would ever be available again down the road on any device anywhere.
Well, much less a tape, a cassette, or an album,
Yeah.
or are you kidding me, on iTunes and
Or a
And
cloud.
if I recorded
Right.
off the radio, then I only had to pay $4 for the pack of blank tapes
Right.
instead of the $1.99 for the single. I saved
Ah.
money.
Right, that's
Yeah,
a
and
valid point.
Absolutely.
I of course bought every 40 because I had my supposed to be 145 a week, but I always managed to talk my mother into more than one. But we had that was part of my
love
allowance
that.
was 145 a week
Oh my God.
I love
at
that.
the Kmart's.
Sure. The
Yeah,
Kmart.
sure.
You bet.
And sometimes we'd go into the oldies section and find something
Sure.
older that I had heard on the radio, and I'd have to ask people what
What's that?
and you'd have to sing it to somebody and have them tell you what it was because you didn't know what it was.
Right.
They they didn't have that if you play it say it.
Soundhound.
Remember,
kind of
but remember they had
No.
that. They started to have that big push. If you play it, say it to make sure radio stations announce the name of every song that they played.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Because
yeah.
they used to just play songs and not tell you what it was. So you'd be like, well, I liked that song, but it wasn't. You tried to remember like some lyric or some catch from it. Oh, I was always the asshole at the record store singing to people.
Singing to people.
Alan the Kmart.
Yeah, right. Except that was just him talking.
Yeah.
There used to be for a
I'm with
while,
Daniel. Or with Summer, I used to always do that too.
for a while back when I started, because it was all manual. Nothing was computerized or like our traffic for commercial play or anything. It was all manually done. We used to have to, in certain Arbitron ratings periods, we had to literally write down every single song we played. And like it'd be like a 5-day span, and they would want to know from certain day parts. That's how they used to track it. We would get logs from all the ratings people, and every shift you did, you had to write it down. Now, if you were lucky, like I often was when I started doing weekends, I would have like a 4-hour span where it was the Rick D's Weekly Top 40. Right. So I just wrote down Rick D's Weekly Top 40 from noon to 4. Boom, and I only had 2 hours after that to finish, and I was done. But otherwise, every single song. That's how they used to do it back in the day.
All that writer's
Unbelievable.
cramp.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. And then
Writing down
Ponderous.
7 words every 3 minutes. That woof.
That'd be a lot. What if you missed one?
well, I mean, the world didn't come to an end, but
I would
still, it
think
was
so.
one of those things. That's how they got all their ratings, and they figured out rates, all that kind of happy horse shit.
I love it.
Crazy. Now it's all done digitally. In
gotta-
fact, DJs don't even play shit anymore. It's stacked into
That's
a
what you told me.
system.
Yeah.
None. All of that is automated. That's why you never hear a skip anymore or a miscue of a song, because it's
Yeah.
all done.
Oh, and then one of the biggest stations in Buffalo went to tape. So it was just, they were just sent a tape and they would just play it and interrupt with commercials. So you always heard one song. You just knew one song led into another. Like you just knew that, like rock, and you knew like rock and roll fantasy. But that started really early. It was like 1980 when they started, and I forget like our station in Buffalo was called Rock 102, and it was all pre-programmed, and they would just fish in a hit. And if they started to get requests, then they would just somehow manage to get the song to play. I don't know how long the tapes are, but you would always hear one song with the other one, and you'd go to other cities and you'd be like, oh, we play those two songs together, and you realize they were all using the same
service.
But that just,
that's when you know you're a savant.
Yeah, but that was so disappointing when I learned that. I didn't, because I always thought like DJs were the coolest thing.
Right, we were.
Poor
I
mothers.
know.
Back in the day.
I always thought you were, but then not.
And then
you
it's
know?
gotten worse since even then. Now they do, because it's all satellite and it's all computer or digital controlled. Now all they do is voice track. Literally, somebody sits in a studio.
Except for morning radio, right?
A lot of morning shows are still local. They do the morning drive local because it's traffic and it's local weather and it's that. But usually through midday through drive time,
It's just syndicated.
it's syndicated, but they do drop-ins for traffic and some local commercials and stuff. But literally, like you might have 17 different stations in a family that's owned, and one person sits in a booth and does voice tracks for all of them.
Sure.
So they play an automated sound or a list of songs. And it's all programmed in, and then the same voice in multiple markets will say Rock 105, Z103.
Yeah.
They'll do all of the different ones. One guy does it all, and it's all from one place, and it does to all the
Well,
stations.
it's just terribly disappointing.
And that's why another reason
I'm
you
sorry
can't
we
make.
popped your cherry on that.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's
That
another
was a
reason
long
that
time ago. I got popped.
you really can't make money in media because one person does the job of 25 people from that aspect.
Did
So-
you guys ever do the contests? Summer was talking about the calling contest.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh my God, yes, yeah. In fact, I used to have to run them. We'd pick a random number, caller number 13, and it was always caller number because we didn't want to fuck with it. It was caller 6, caller 9, caller 12.
Say it ain't so.
Come on.
But they would always say like caller 1, thank you, caller 2, thank you, like
Yeah.
fucking liars.
Did you guys ever win? I mean,
My first water
On the
bed. Well, no, I didn't call in. I take that back. I think I
Wait,
did
you
win
had
tickets.
more than one water bed?
No.
Let's go back to this.
Yes.
not at the same time.
Yes.
There's a motion in the ocean joke
My
coming.
no.
He just said my first water bed.
Yeah.
We did.
My first bad experience.
No, I love the waterbed. The first one, it was a at the mall in my hometown. It was one of those, like every year they do what it's like not arts and crafts. It's like the RV and trade show, and everybody show all that shit. Well, there was a waterbed builder from the area, and they were gorgeous waterbeds. He, back in all ornate and wood. And
Were they?
They was beautiful. Oh no, it was.
Because you wouldn't want a gaudy one.
With the 6-drawer underdresser. Of
course.
Very beautiful.
Naturally.
Anyway, it was a contest. We were doing announcements all weekend for it. People were registering to win it, and we were calling names, and you had to be present to win. You had to be in the mall because it's like, as soon as we fucking announce this, you're going to get this out of here. Because it was set up in the mall.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't have water in it, but I mean, the rest of the bed was set up. So, into that
So
weekend
it's just
game,
a flat piece of plastic.
no, it was a wooden bed frame with the pedestal.
It was
everything.
laminate pressboard. Don't act like it wasn't.
Oh, no, it was not. It was actual hardwood.
They whittled it.
Whittle it out of a piece of cheese.
That's right.
Anyway, so the contest ends. The general manager of the station, it winds down the mall. Like, it closes at 5 p.m. And, like, we'd been announcing for an hour and a half whoever won it, but nobody showed up to it. And he's like, I don't care how the hell you get this out of here. I don't care if you take it home. Get it the fuck out of this mall. So I called a friend of mine. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just watching TV. He didn't do much. I'm like, get in your truck and get to the mall.
I'm getting my first water
Right,
bed.
you're gonna pick up you're winning a water bed. You're taking it to my grandparents' house.
Right.
Yeah.
You're winning it for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, and then my grandfather about lost his mind because I'm putting 5 tons of water over floor joists in a house that was built in the 40s. It's like, it was fine, Grandpa.
You'll be fine.
A touching story by Clayton McKee. My
love
first
that.
water bed.
It's the name of his memoirs.
Next time with colors.
So,
No, the book was called Full Flow.
Oh,
do we get to hear the story about the second waterbed in hour 2?
yeah,
How does
exactly.
this work?
Watch it wiggle.
I didn't move that water
see
bed
it
to Arizona
jiggle.
with me, so when I later on I moved somewhere, some other house, and I found.
Say spoiler alert.
Huh?
Well, we were supposed to wait till hour 2 to find out how to get
Oh, well,
another
we can
one.
do that.
My goodness.
I didn't realize anybody was going to care to listen that long to get to that
I
story.
like it. I don't know what world space is either.
The what?
World space? I mean, I want
In
to
what
know
context? What are we
We're
doing?
world space.
what
I don't know.
it says. It's
Is
about
that-
the radio kind of stuff.
Is
Internet
it just
radio.
a,
It
is it
looks
just
like.
a Kenyan thing?
No, I
I'm
don't
not
know.
sure. World space. I just didn't know if you guys knew. I could
To
look it
then
up. But.
KEXP or KCRW? What is that? Internet radio. Oh, it was internet
They
radio.
seem to be radio call signs.
But I don't know what world space is.
Oh, it's a defunct satellite radio network that in its
Oh.
heyday provided service to over 170,000 subscribers in Eastern and Southern Africa, the Middle East,
Oh.
and much than the sentence ends.
Do you, Amina, is Sirius XM available where you are now since they've taken over at least everything in the States? But I would assume that would be available worldwide.
Oh, sure.
I would assume. But I mean, they've been struggling too. But I
Have
was.
they really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they when they launched. Well, it used to be Sirius and XM. They were two different.
Right. Oh, I thought they were the
One,
same.
no, used to be X. You had XM radio, or you had Sirius. They were
Okay.
two different ones. Like if I'm not mistaken, all GM cars had XM and all Ford cars had Sirius.
Yeah, I think that's true.
And then somehow one of them got defunct or one whatever, and then one bought the other, so now it's Sirius
Kind of like
XM.
it was high def and Blu-ray,
Okay.
Yeah,
and they just decided to become one thing and not
Put it
go through a
together.
whole Betamax
yeah.
VHS.
Well, because one of them won. They were two distinctly different
yeah, but they
protocols.
they made them both playable in the same player. Like they did all kinds of shit to make sure that you didn't.
Not at first. The first you had to choose.
Oh, right. But then when they decided to
Blu-ray
not
won.
when they merged.
Blu-ray won, but they decided not to go the whole like fuck over everybody with Betamax, so the high def became playable. They did some kind of thing. So I remember when I got my first
Trickery.
Blu-ray player, there was like a whole discussion of what to get, and they were like Blu-ray's winning and buy Sony. It was like very clear.
Yeah.
Like
I know
Sony-
we've had this discussion. It may have been prior to you joining our illustrious team, but we talked about the fact of why Beta lost over VHS before the story. Do you remember this?
vaguely.
Porn. The unfortunate thing is Beta had better sound and video quality, but the porn industry got to work real quick using VHS tapes to distribute, and they just won.
That's right. Yeah. Because everything is always about porn.
Smart.
So that's how they won.
Well, the internet.
And
is for
It's
porn.
for porn.
And I'm sure a lot of kids these days wouldn't fathom the idea that you get one VHS tape, and depending on what speed it is, it's either a 2-hour, a 4-hour, or a 6-hour.
I didn't understand that at the time. I was like,
SP?
what the fuck?
SP, LP, or SLP were the three speeds.
I used to think SLP stood for super long player.
Well, it
Ish.
I mean, kind of does because makes it a 6-hour
Yeah.
tape.
But that's not the actual acronym.
No, but I mean, I get what you're saying though.
Yeah. So what'd you do last week? Or what have you
I
done?
didn't
since
talk.
What have you done since we saw you? As well,
No speaking.
okay.
Just getting ready to still try to get tomorrow. I go for a second mortgage, or not second mortgage, refinance.
Okay.
To do some refinancing stuff to be able to get the
The ball rolling on
the
all
ball
that.
rolling for everything. Yeah.
very good.
With the house. So
Or very bad, depending on how.
well, it's been over a month of
Yeah.
messing around.
But
with.
to be fair, you don't have raw sewage backing up in your house.
Oh, dear
or any
God, no.
or any horrible thing like that. It's just it needs
God,
to be.
Please don't jinx me.
No. I'm just saying
I had that last summer. It's no fun.
Yeah,
because
no,
you had
not
been
at all.
talking
That's
about the
right.
fact that it was like something wasn't draining at one point. Blah blah blah. But you're not to that point. It's just
Right.
it needs to be resolved.
We had them come in and they looked at it, and I think we just caught it at the right time to where they said, "Don't use these anymore."
Oh, okay.
And so then we stopped there, like 3 different areas that we're just not using.
Okay.
So it's
Wow.
yeah, it's just
Everybody's
frustrating.
bathing in this thing.
No, we have one shower that so we're more than enough blessed. Like everything is fine.
Still functioning,
But-
just not as convenient.
Right. And my concern is that the more that you continue to use that and or that one area
That's going to go next.
that's going to go next and then
Yeah.
it backs up and whatever. So
right.
hopefully tomorrow just that works out but otherwise everything just kind of going with it.
How is the health and condition of mom and or Ernie?
Ernie is doing very well.
On complete
and,
summer break, right?
She's doing some side job curriculum writing
Oh, okay.
thing, but the Jenny was telling a story about her girlfriend being asked if that was her mom, right, when they're out. If Jenny,
Yeah.
that's happened before. I don't want to fucking talk about it any further, but I just wanted Jenny to know she's not alone. She and Aaron are.
think
in
I'm
we
the
kind
same
of upset
boat.
it doesn't happen to me anymore.
What do you mean?
That people think that Sharon's my mom because that means I just look fucking older. I don't like it.
Well, they look at you and just assume you're an awkward-looking husband. I'm assuming.
There you go,
I-
right?
I'm not sure if that's a boy
But
or
I
a
get
girl,
it.
but we're gonna.
I was shopping with a guy I was seeing, and somebody asked if Dad had to approve of the purchase, and I was like, "Your father's here?" And I was like,
I've never met him.
Yeah, it really did take like 15 minutes for me to get around to what the hell they were
Well,
implying, and I'm like,
it used to be before with like going into the classrooms, like taking something to Erin or helping her with something, that the kids in 6th grade would look up, "Is that your mom?" Yeah, whatever. Fine, you know,
Children.
bastard,
Fuckers, yeah.
But but when you're out and it's like, anyway, digress. But it's a
My
terrible
favorite was in
feeling.
Vegas when somebody. I was with Molly. My favorite was when I was in like Vegas or Laughlin with Molly, and we were trying to talk to, I don't know, customer service or somebody,
Yeah.
and somebody said, "Ma'am, your son can't be in this area."
that's fantastic.
Excuse me.
God damn, that's
He
that's
bought
wrong
the
on-
drinks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. That's wrong on like every level, and I appreciate it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Your son
So-
can't be. That's fantastic.
First of all, sir or ma'am.
As
Yeah.
Molly's sitting in front of a slot machine with
Yeah,
one
I can
cigarette going, he's fine.
Yeah, just poking the lady in the
Honestly,
eye with her cigarette.
Get over here, kid.
That
I
trip,
told you to
I
behave.
kept my ID on top of my cigarettes because I was so over it. They'd
Sure.
come over, like 6 or 7 of them would come over every time I was sitting at a table. They'd be like, "Excuse me, son. Here,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
Leave me alone."
35 and I'm not your son. Hit me."
two things.
Yeah.
And the only other thing, we'll be on break, but Mom is having hip surgery.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be July 11th.
Does that mean hip replacement
No.
surgery? What does that mean?
No.
I'm just gonna round it
There's
out a little bit.
no. There's a maximum. So your gluteus something. There's a tore a muscle like a ligament that goes, and that snapped.
Oh no.
Okay.
Yep, like so
That
that's
sounds
not on there,
terrible.
and
No,
that made
that's
me
not
want to
okay.
throw up.
Oh.
So
Oh.
that's why it's been a little bit more difficult for her. And they said,
Hokey
well, we'll
smokes.
just try to give her a shot. And they did that, but really, if something has detached,
Yeah.
I
Time
feel
to
that
attach
it's
it.
time
Yeah.
to attach.
Time to get some internal Velcro.
Yeah, so they're going to go in and do that on, and something up. But it's not a full hip replacement thing,
Okay.
thank God. Yeah, but it's, she has that July 11th, so it's just
Good.
One
just
thing
time.
leads
fixing
to- yeah.
everything up.
Wow, they're a month out on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the first time. July 11th is the first opening.
okay.
Yeah. So, but it'll be good.
Oddly, Matt just had to have surgery. He was, and I guess this is a thing that happens more often than anybody knows. He was he sleeps, I guess, face down more often than not, and his dogs were moving around, and he just reached over, and I guess in an awkward way, to pull one of the dogs or move whatever he did, and literally a tendon from here snapped against, and it took the bicep muscle with it.
Okay.
And he had to go in, and they had it completely out. They took it last Wednesday, I think it was. Wednesday, Thursday, they took completely out and reattached, did a screw in the arm to attach everything to. And then the doctor's like, well, oddly, it's usually the arm that you use to write with, because that's your preferred arm, your stronger arm. It wasn't that one, it was the other.
Okay.
But they said, well, now this one is like bionic. This won't break again, but your other one still could go through that. He's like, shit.
Well, and
Jesus
think about it.
Christ.
I mean, he's in shape. Like, he's in decent shape.
right. And
You know.
he just turned 40.
Right.
Like, he's not even...
And it all went wrong.
And it all went.
Right.
His warranty expired.
Yeah. Right.
Your best when used by date. Clearly printed.
40 year, 40,000 miles. We're
Yeah.
sorry, sir. Once-
That came first.
Right.
You're a high mileage guy.
You
Yes.
didn't get the extended warranty, sir. So. Oh,
well,
God.
send your mother our regards.
I will. Yeah.
When that, I mean, obviously we got a month away for that, but still, that's.
And we're going to be on break, so that'll be.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Cool.
It'll be take care of time. I'm just excited for her to feel better.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
I mean, that's it. Like, just. Ugh.
Is she still able? I don't want this to sound wrong. She's still mobile though. She's not
She is
bedridden.
So
She's
she,
not.
after her back surgery, and then she got that shot thing. She was not. She was after the back surgery. She was a little better, and then not. And it was because of this hip thing.
Oh,
So, yeah.
right.
And she went in and said something is still wrong, and that's
How they
when
found it.
it. Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
Yeah.
God. Knock wood.
Yeah.
Still haven't had anything broken or injured to
know
that
it.
effect.
Well, and
I'm
this
not jinxing
in her 60, she was 68 at the time when she broke this
Right.
with the fall. That was the first thing she had ever broken. in 68 years.
I'm
almost
not
69
jumping on
years,
this
so-
Jinx bandwagon.
Yeah, no, I know it. but
Mom, I'm
that
going to
was the
remain
thing, yeah.
silent.
Well, fortunately, my mom's already said that anything that's above her eye level is not getting touched or cleaned, so she's staying on the floor. No step stools, nothing. So I'm not worried about her falling into anything.
No, I'm glad. I'm glad.
Smart.
So,
Yes.
but thank you for asking. Yeah, she's doing okay though. So
Well, all right.
Yeah.
Alfie, I know what you've been doing, and I know we've got a parade.
We're gonna whip through some pictures and just
Ooh, slides. Yeah.
take it in or out of order. I have no idea.
We're just gonna go through the sequence, and you'll just tell us what they are.
They may be in order. They may not be.
I don't think they're in any order.
Who knows? But
It's like to brief the people on what you did.
yeah, since I was last with you all, went to see Book of Mormon one more time because I had my tickets that I bought like
Hooray.
18 months ago. Absolutely fantastic this round.
Well,
Yeah, then Thursday flew to Barcelona, did 3 days in Barcelona. One of the most beautiful cities I've ever been in. Don't bother to learn any Spanish because they don't speak it. They
Good to
do
know.
Catalan, which is their dialect, mixed with Spanglish, mixed with
oh,
some kind of Italian-French hybrid that who knows what the fuck they're doing, but they all speak English, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, that's good.
Like, there's just no reason to speak any Spanish with them at all because, first off, everyone spoke English. And then, we were, walking and shopping, and I'm like, even from contextual clues, I couldn't get what some of the words meant.
Okay.
The men, if you likey the men, you needs to get to the Barcelona because starting at baggage claim on, I had the vapors.
wow.
I have never clutched pearl so many times and been like, oh my. Lovely, lovely people and a beautiful city on the water. We stayed in the diagonal part of Diagonal Mar or whatever it's called of Barcelona. Absolutely beautiful, easy to get around. They have the bus tours, 3 different bus tours that go around. You can link on and off and see the whole city and then wander at will. And it was lovely. It was absolutely lovely.
I don't know how you're even here because I would still be asleep.
I pretty much been asleep for 2 days.
I can't imagine.
And had the dizzies.
Did you?
Yeah. And Sunday we got on the cruise ship, got on early. It was absolutely lovely. The ship was way too big. But got used to it. They had water slides at the top, which turned out to be really fun and the reason for the dizzies because I was riding them all week whenever there was a chance to jump on a water slide and get on. There was one that had a long line, but it wasn't worth it. The other 2 lesser ones were just fucking fun.
Okay.
And the last day that we had on the ship, I went before we went to Mallorca, and then after Mallorca. And after Mallorca, I turned it into a drinking game with a bottle of champagne. And so I was doing sip of champagne, 4 flights of stairs, go down the water slide, sip of champagne, go up. I did that 5 times, and it had a spin and a drop, and it landed you in the water, and I could feel my equilibrium being lost each time I would do this one drop and curve. And I was like, thank God Harrison's a chiropractor because I think I'm fucked up. And I think the whole day of people with all that sunblock going down that slide, it just got faster and faster.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was fucking crazy. And I'm not sure what Esperanto is. But I know they speak Catalan and it was just weird. It was very, very weird. There was one word that I was sending out to people that spoke Spanish fluently, people that lived in Spain, and we just could not figure out what this word was. We got down to you were buying the flavor of flowers. It didn't mean seeds. It didn't mean smell. We just never knew. And it's probably in a text message somewhere that we had to find a Catalan translator to be what the fuck was this person selling? And we couldn't tell from the context what they were.
Are you saying Catalan?
Yeah, Catalan.
Catalan?
It's the little language of
Traditional
Barcelona.
spelling.
Yeah. It's and they do Castilian, so you have the th. In Spain they all say s's as thus, it's como estás, and they're in Barcelona and they it's fun. And I think that's all of Spain, but they just have their own little dialect there. But for some reason with this port, they've just been, I don't know, invaded by so many different people that they just have this weird, not weird, but they just have a very different language. But then everybody speaks English, so there's no reason to try and figure out. So he's going to show you some pictures, and I'll try to describe what they are if I remember.
Picture number 1.
Oh, well, okay, we're not in any order at all. So this is in Florence. This is the Duomo. So and this was from Silence of the Lambs, that if when he paints the Duomo as seen from the Belvedere, and this is actually it. And you can't really tell in this picture, or maybe you can, that it's marble, but it's different colored marbles. There actually are pink and green. And the color was absolutely spectacular. And we were told as we were driving down that the cathedrals were in different colors. So to have it be this like gorgeous, all these colors of marble in this big giant church. So good. So it was just beautiful. It's in Florence, and the cathedral was stunning. Florence was a beautiful, beautiful city. Keep going.
Is
Do this
that the
fast.
one that Laura Florence she was talking about?
Yeah.
That's her.
So this is the state building, and there's a scene in Hannibal where he kills the guy and he shoves him out the window by his intestines. That's the build of.
Oh my God.
On the right, on the 4th floor, that's where he got dropped out of. And in Inferno, this is where Tom Hanks and January Jones are like escaping into or from. So this is like this is the government region of there, and to the right in that those little arches are like just a collection of statues. They call it like an outdoor museum.
And is that where this comes in?
Yes, and that is called something Sabine, and the rope of Sabine or something like that. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous statue that's in the where the David is housed, the real David. And it turns out this is where the original one was. Turns out the copy of this one was in the museum. This is the actual real one outdoors, out in the plaza, and it's a gorgeous, sexy sculpture. It's just beautiful.
Okay.
So this is all in Florence, and that is one of the cathedrals in Florence. We had lunch right by there. We bought leather bags, just beautiful. We couldn't not get in there. And the funny thing they do is they spray off the stairs to keep people from sitting there and eating their lunch because they litter. So
And
they
then the
just
birds.
keep hosing. They don't care about the birds. It's the people that make the mess. So
Right.
they pretend they're hosing off the bird shit, but they're really trying to keep the people off of it. So
Oh.
they just alternate the stairs. But there was some big sports match coming up that they were setting up for. That's like a combination of soccer and American football and some other sport. So it was a big deal of a thing coming up.
This one made me laugh because I don't understand what it means.
So there's an artist in Florence who he's become famous for doing these things to signs, and they're just stickers. So if the government needs to, he's not defacing them. They could just peel it off if they want to, but they kind of like it. He's like a local artist, and this one is the Shy Guy. But there was all these different, he turned all of the street signs he made them very funny and clever with stickers.
Oh.
And the government has chosen to peel some of them off if they feel it changes the meaning. But if not, they leave them on because he's kind of like their Harry, what was that guy's name in the 80s? Madonna's friend. Anyways, Keith Haring. Kind of that kind of thing. It's kind of like art in the street with the people, and it's kind of fun. There was all kinds of signs, but that's the one that I chose to show you. But they're all over. Very funny. That is the baptismal at the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and it's called the Miracle Square, and I have to tell you, it's a fucking miracle. Takes your breath away when you turn the corner and see that, because again, this is all those different colors, and it's just beautiful. The front is where you have to be baptized because you can't walk into the cathedral if you're not a Christian. So even babies can't go in to be baptized. You have to be baptized in the first church to cross the threshold of the cathedral. It was just spectacular and beautiful. It is called the Miracle Square, because someone said the site of it is a miracle, and they're not lying.
And Amina has the thing. When you said the rope of Sabine,
rape
I
of
thought,
Sabine.
the rape of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And for such a horrible name,
But
it's
it is,
such
right.
it's just a sensual, very beautiful statue. The Leaning Tower of Pisa, breathtakingly beautiful. The whole grounds, everything around there, people were very respectful. It was, as you can tell, it was just the most beautiful day in human history, and it was like it just took your breath away. Every time you turned a corner in Italy, it was just one more absolutely breathtaking sight, because you're like, oh, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and then you get there and you're like, it's fucking gorgeous. Like you really, like you just had to keep standing there in awe of like, who the fuck built this shit? It's pretty. And that's the giant bell of innuendo. That's at the top. That's at the top of Pisa. We did the climb. We made it up alive. It's very slippery. And every time you get to the one side, you feel really fucked up because you can feel the lean.
Because of the lean.
Yeah. And it turns out it's not just to there, but then you can go up another set of stairs to the bell tower. And then there's like 4 more stairs that I wanted credit for, because we were using Shane had his pedometer on. I'm like, I want credit for these 4 fucking stairs because we've gone up and down them like 100 times. So that's the view that's the bell tower and the view. This is off the back of the ship. And every morning was this view. Like we would just wake up to these sunrises that were just That could have been a sunset too. I don't even know what time of day it was. But we had an aft-facing balcony, so we just left the door open and the sliding door open all the time, 24 hours a day. And you just turn and look at that view, and it was. They're not lying about that Mediterranean. It's just blue. It's so beautiful. And like I said, the weather was exceptional. That's the church where Grace Kelly got married and was buried in. That's in Monaco. Again, you went around corners. This is from the parking garage of the Oceanic Institute.
Wow.
The Jacques Cousteau Museum. I mean, that's the view from the fucking parking lot. And again, like every time you turned a corner in Monaco and Monte Carlo, it was just like, what the fuck?
Gotcha. Is this the ship you were?
That's the ship we were on, and there's the water slides.
On
Towards
top,
the back,
right.
you can see the water slide. That's the one that really wasn't worth the money. The other two were better. This is in Mallorca. That's the Cathedral of Mallorca, which I'm going to go back to because we didn't get in there, and I said, you just have to Google it because we didn't go on the tour, so we have no idea what was going on. But, you wake up, you're, like, looking off the bed, and that was the view from our stateroom. Like, that's what we were looking at. I'm like, beat this shit.
Right.
And that's the last night. The two guys had the room. Our cabin was next door. They had the more fancy cabin. So that's Shane in the front and the two guys from San Diego that we became friends with. I spotted the gays as I was going to get something, and then Shane spotted them at the lifeboat drill that they have to do before you can leave. And so we just hung out the whole time. We our patios were next to each other. We could have asked them to unlock and been entertaining, but we didn't.
Yeah.
And just
It's
lots
a little
of fun.
too forward.
Yeah, right.
And this is the Trevi Fountain in Rome. So I was in Rome. I was supposed to be do a live thing from there. Tuesday we had been out. We had so much fun. It was such a nice day. We were all over the pictures from that. That's the Trevi Fountain, the whole thing. And then they had Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, on the boat. So we went and saw that. Shane he had told me earlier that he has a heart, champagne does something weird to him. The guys invited us over to their room to have a glass of champagne because they had it delivered. We did, and Shane just got he went from 0 to 60, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? He got the ping pong ball from the Asian girl that shot it out of her ass. He ran across. We were in the front row. He was screaming at the people in the show, and I'm like, what is going on? Well, it turns out it was a champagne. So the next morning, he was just a wreck. We only got 2 or 3 hours of sleep. He was a wreck and ended up, because he'd been to Rome before, not to any of these, he'd seen all these things from the outside, but he wasn't going. And it was such a good thing because we would have killed each other. It was such a long fucking day, and there's just too much to take in. It's sensory overload. Any one of these things would have been a delightful full day tour, but to do all of it in one day, and I thought I had signed up for a drive-by of the Coliseum. Turns out, nope. We got off and went walked around the Coliseum, had a great tour guide. The only part that they've restored is straight back. You can see where the senators actually sat. Those seats are back. I didn't expect it to be that put together. They're putting together a little bit of the stage to show where the stage would have been. They had lifts. That's me in the Coliseum. And it's lovely and not full of cats, as I'd always heard.
Interesting.
So not full of cats. And these are my companions because Shane had been sick. So Adam and Joe were on the same. We found out they were on the same tour with us for 2 days.
I noticed there's several pictures of you where you've got a headphone in. What are you listening for? Is it a tour?
See, they have theirs. I'm holding mine. They have theirs around their neck, and it's your tour guide talking to you.
Oh, okay. Audio
that way,
tour.
no one's shouting. So they're just talking quietly into a microphone. And you
that's
have it
nice.
in your ear. And that way, there's not all these different tours and all these different languages
That's
just
cool.
screaming information at you.
A lot of self-guided tours do that too.
Yeah.
That's cool.
This is from St. Peter's Basilica. It's the only thing that Michelangelo ever signed, and it's across her sash. Allegedly, that's what they told us. So we get through this whole day of Rome, and the Sistine Chapel, they shut the doors. It was the day the Pope was there on Wednesday. They shut the doors, and they were like, silencio, silencio, and then they went in 4 different languages. Well, a priest came in, and whoever was in the room got a blessing, and they were willing to bless any rosaries or crucifixes or I can't think of the word, not tokens, but any
You're kind of dooming
coins
tokens
or-
though.
yeah, it's whatever you have from the church. They did a prayer for us, and our tour guide got emotional during it. And I was like, this must be a big fuck. I guess they don't do this all the time, and they really don't. And we were in the chapel, which is too much. It's too overwhelming, and the tour guide was so nice because you just think it's going to be one big ceiling of Adam and Adam and
Yeah.
God with the fingers almost
Right,
touching.
right.
It's not. That's one tiny little
Oh,
postcard
really?
on a ceiling of 150,000 fucking pictures.
Oh.
And there's
Wow.
art on every inch of space. It's like it was tagged. I mean, there is so much to take in. And she had gone through and like before we went in and told us what to look for, what we were looking at, pictures. And thank God, because if you got in there and like just looked up to see it,
You'd miss effort.
you'd
Yeah.
lose your mind. There's too much in there. Well, they did this prayer, they locked us in, and it made getting out a nightmare because now all of a sudden no one's going in their nice orderly lines. They trapped like 100 too many people in the room to do this prayer, and getting out turned into a nightmare. And then it was overwhelming, and then you're like, I can't, like I just couldn't take anymore. And I'm like, well, that's the end of the tour. So we go down, we go through a courtyard, we're standing on some steps, we're overlooking St. Peter's Square, and it was beautiful, and it's right out of Angels and Demons, so I was enjoying the parts that I knew from Angels and Demons. And we did the Vatican Museum first, which was completely overwhelming because you're going through the Vatican's museum of their priceless art, and it was absolutely beautiful. And whenever you're like, Shane was all like, I don't like to go into churches. I'm like, unfortunately, they were the ones paying the masters.
Sure.
Like, if you want to see Michelangelo and Da Vinci, you pretty much have to go into
have
a
to go to the
church because
churches,
that's who
right.
was their sponsor. So, and I there's no pictures from the Sistine Chapel of the Vatican Museum because there was no way to stop and pick what you were going to take a picture of. So we get down on the stairs. I'm overlooking the square, delighted that the day is over, and thinking, congratulations, you made it. You got through the whole day on like 2 hours of sleep with a tiny hangover. I had 2 or 3 glasses of wine wherever it was appropriate, and I realized I've lost the group. So I'm like, fuck, where did they go? And I could hear somebody talking, so I'm like, oh my God, they're back in whatever that building is. Oh yeah, it's just St. Peter's Basilica. Just the largest the rock of the church where
Right.
St. Peter is buried. And I got in there, and I was like half ready to cry, half ready to faint. Like you just can't prepare for, after you've been to the Vatican Museum and the Sistine Chapel, to just walk into the Basilica and like the amount of artwork in every direction on every thing, the side altars, and then to see like St. Peter's actual altar. There may be a picture, I probably didn't. And then to be able to look down like they do in I think it's in Angels and Demons, where you look down to like, this is Rome now, and the catacombs are below you where there's all the people buried from the Roman times, and below that is where St. Peter is actually buried,
Right.
interred. And you're like looking down like, how many cities are we standing? It was insane. And in there it was gorgeous. I couldn't, I want to go back there for a full day.
Yeah.
Because we did about an hour and a half in there, and I never caught my breath. I was just never able to physically recover from it. And then, like, people were like, what are we doing after? I'm like, I'm fucking done. Like, the epileptic cannot take in one more sight. That's St. Peter's actual altar.
Okay.
And, like, just the size of that. And that's like 1/14th or 1/40th of what is going on in that fucking thing. It was, and that's
What did they tell you with that to answer that question? 13 years to paint the ceiling?
I feel
Did
like it
they
was
say that?
longer. Yeah, so I mean, this is all in Vatican City, and like I said, we started in the Vatican Museum. Oh yeah, and that's the actual basilica that I missed because we came out to the right. Like, I think the Sistine Chapel is just off that little tiny building on the right upper, that tiny little square. That's all the Sistine Chapel is. So we came down that courtyard, and I walked across those stairs, not realizing what was behind me. Because I was looking out, and the chairs were all out because the Pope was there in the morning.
Okay.
The Pope did his Wednesday Mass. So I missed the fucking building behind me, standing on those stairs.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and just didn't see it.
Looking back, is this when you left? Is that looking back at the?
Yeah, I think that's looking back at the port in like, it's called Civitavecchio or something like that. Civitavecchio or something like that is the city you really dock in. This is Florence from up above. We had the best, and I got her. It's FlorenceWowTown.it. If you ever go there, look up this woman. Her name's Julia. She was phenomenal. She's from Florence. She does tours. She was amazing, and she made the bus driver stop at this particular park, and that's the Duomo, like, and you got to see Florence from a distance, and the Belvedere is in there, and that's one of the few pictures that Shane and I took together.
It's a nice
And
picture.
we got up there, and I just shocked at how beautiful yet another town was. And then we explored, but she said, you're not going to see anything more beautiful, and most of the buses are not going to stop here. But our bus driver was nice enough too. So that's overlooking Florence, and that's the actual David. again, not prepared for how beautiful. Like, he's beautiful. And giant. Mm-hmm. I wasn't expecting it to be that big, but it would take you, like, when you were looking at it, you were just struck by, like, he has veins, and the arm that's down, his veins are protruding, but in this one they aren't, because if you lift your hand up, the blood goes, so you don't get the veins in your arm. Like, he had a fantastic ass, but his face is beautiful, and it's just beautiful. It was beautiful, like, jaw dropping. Oh. I was just like, it's a fucking statue, and then you're like, we're falling in love with him because he's lovely. So that was one of the best pictures that we got. But we walked all around it. That's in Barcelona. That's the top of the cathedral, and somebody was saying they were in the Gothic region of Barcelona. So the cathedral that's there, you could actually go up to the top and stand and overlook all of Barcelona, and it was just beautiful. And that's in Barcelona. That's the Museum of Art, which you had to walk up all those fucking stairs, and then you walked up more stairs off to the side, and you got up to the stadium, the Olympic Stadium, from when they were there. Sure. Absolutely gorgeous. Like, the whole walk through those parks and up the 15 billion stairs.
I have absolutely misdemeanor, and the fact that Mussolini tried to straighten the Leaning Tower and failed, obviously. LOL. Because fascists are dumb.
They have tried. They tried a couple different ways to straighten it. They actually put more hardened soil under one side, and because it was supposed to collapse in like 2008 or 2009 was when they said it was going to be done, but they were able to reinforce it, and now they said like 200 years. And the funny thing was, they were like, what they mean is like, it's not our problem.
Yeah.
So that picture was, Shane and I found this, Barcelona. I dare you to speak Spanish or spend more than $25 on a dinner for two people. But we found this wine that they kept, like, this restaurant that we found, delicious food, so nice. And it was Viña Sol. It was $5.90 at the grocery store that we found it. And at the restaurants, it was $10. Because I thought it was a glass of wine, so I ordered it, and the lady's like, a whole bottle for you? And I'm like, what? And I pointed at it. She's like, yeah, that's for the whole bottle. I'm like, I'll just take, I guess, a half liter. And she brings me out like this towering thing, and we had like 3 entrees, two appetizers, all this wine, and our bill was like $44. I'm like, Jesus, we had to work hard to spend money there, and the food was phenomenal. The waiters are beautiful. But that's our view at sunset with our... So I wanted to prove I was in the picture, so I took it with my foot. And I'm actually in my bathrobe. And that's at Pompeii, which is way more preserved than I thought. Not covered in lava. It was, and my favorite part about this story, they found it. Same with the Colosseum. Someone discovered it, didn't know what it was, walked away for like 100 years. So they discovered it in the 1800s, and they were like, well, that's something. Huh. And they left.
Well, because it wasn't gold or mummies. So
yeah.
What do they want to do with that?
But the funny thing was the Colosseum, and this person's there. This is the famous thing that you usually see with Pompeii, the perfectly preserved body that was preserved in the ash. And but the Colosseum was abandoned when Rome fell, whatever that was, like 80 or 100 AD or whatever.
In 20 years.
Yeah, they found it again in like 800 AD, and they're like, well, I wonder what the hell this is, and just turned it into apartments and lived there, but nobody knew what it was. And it wasn't for like 2,000 years that somebody was like, we should probably ask some questions. What the fuck is this thing? And it took them a long time to realize what they were looking at, but all the different things that they use this stuff for. But they just kept walking by Pompeii like, we don't know what this is. Oh. So and there's like all the pottery they found. The day that we landed in Naples. We went to Sorrento to catch a boat because the whole point was to go to Capri. This is like our little, like, what the fuck ever town. Had lunch there, had this beautiful views, gorgeous breezes, absolutely stunning city, and the food was, it's called Sorrento. The food was spectacular. The views were gorgeous. The port was beautiful. And it was we're just dropping you off here. Don't take any pictures here. And I'm like, this is your throwaway city? And it was gorgeous. And this was my favorite picture from the whole trip. This was the port. This is the port at Sorrento, looking at Capri, and I'm like, you just didn't know whether to cry or faint. Or that might be Vesuvius. Who knows?
I think that's Vesuvius because that's what you sent us last week. And that's where we got the whole word from.
Well, Vesuvius is in every one of these pictures because it kind of towers over. So that's us taking a picture.
And that's the end of your. That's all of the pictures.
So I think
Beautiful.
So the only thing that's not in there is, and I think I was just too in awe of Capri. It was just this lovely island. Took a ferry on and off, and just a gorgeous island of like this sparkling blue water all around. And it was just an amazing trip. We did so much in 8 days that by the time we got to Mallorca, I'm like, fuck it, let's just go to lunch. We just walked around, took pictures, went to lunch. I'm like, I don't want to hear any information. I don't want to wear an earpiece. I don't give a shit.
Kind of like when you're here.
Right.
I've seen enough.
Missy Al's broke.
Yeah.
And not out of money, just broken.
But yeah, broken. We had, oh my God, at this Italian restaurant we went to, they had like, I got to look it up. It's like baked provolone or baked Parmesan, but I'm pretty sure it was provolone. And it was done like in that Greek style, that cheese that they do.
Oh, saganaki?
Yeah, like it's kind of like saganaki, but it was provolone, and it was just hot. Oh, God. It was like...
Did they light it on fire?
No, and that was everything different, but it had clearly been lit on fire earlier, and you just smeared it over bread, and we had to like measure that out to make sure
provolone.
That... Yeah. It was called plancha de provolone. And they had it on the boat too, but we missed it.
It's in
That's
the
the
name,
key
babe.
word.
No, but it was plancha de something. I just
Sure.
don't know if it was plancha de Parmesan or plancha de provolone.
I feel like Parmesan wouldn't be as like spready, melty. Like even melted
And then
Parmesan
I don't think
is
would
kind
be
of
as good if it was that
crunchy.
delicious, because provolone is just...
Yeah, and that's why I wasn't sure, and we were so enamored of it. And I was they were making the pasta and making the cannoli fresh. It was a completely fresh restaurant. Oh my God! And I don't think Shane was impressed by the meal as I was. But I was like licking my plate getting out of there, and I had pesto homemade.
Did they ask you to
with
leave at
pesto
some
sauce.
point?
Right.
No, we just had to because I wanted to get back
Could
on the
you
water
stop
slide.
licking
We
your
were
plates?
both it was in Mallorca, and we were both fucking done.
yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
It really, and I didn't realize. Like I kind of thought we had booked too much. Mm-hmm. But then I'm like, I would have been had I missed Capri, I would have been heartbroken. Like, and that was the day I did not remember anything that was on the tour. Every time we showed up, so I'm like, well, this is exciting. What's that? Like, this is exciting. And Shane's like, you booked this shit. I'm like, and I probably watched a video about it too. But
Right, probably even read a book about it. But this is new.
Right. This is delightful.
And everyone kept saying like, this weather is unusually clear. Like it should be cloudier. There should be, there should be a June bloom. And the only place there really was that was
Sure, okay.
in Monte Carlo. You can't see it from the pictures, but over the mountains was always cloudy. Like there was a storm threatening the entire time, but if you just look to your right, it was this gorgeous sunny day with this clear drizzle going on the other side. And the only complaint we had when you get on the boat, it's all America. Like all of Europe disappears when you get on that fucking boat. So it was shitty American wine with our unlimited thing. Thank God they had Ultimate, and thank God the people at French Grocery taught me to enjoy rosés. That there really are good rosés. That was the only good wine on that boat. Wanted to write a strongly worded letter. Like we are walking around Europe with bottles of wine for $5 that are spectacular, and you're serving like Giulio Gallo or whatever, some dumb fuck. Like, oh, the wine was terrible.
Stuff you can get at the dollar store.
The food was good on the shit. The wine was absurdly bad. Like the first day I went through the wine list, I was laughing. I'm like, really? And the guy's like, it's America. The ATMs gave out U.S. dollars. I'm like, you realize we're in Europe and we have to get off, and so
spend some euros.
So you were on tour. When you went on tours, we had to like hunt for cash machines.
Sure.
Not that you spent all that much, but and everybody took credit cards, but you wanted a little cash in case you saw something on the street you wanted to buy. But it's absurd that they have to cater to Americans that much. That the ATM gives out U.S. dollars.
Americans are the worst.
They really are.
Ruin everything.
Everything was but they were well behaved because we were on all these tour buses that were in really clean shape, and I'm like, it's us using them, so clearly we're.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, clearly we're not ruining that much shit. So there you go.
It's a hell of a trip.
It's
a hell of a day at sea.
It
sir.
really was a hell of a day. Sorry.
Literally several days at sea.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Clayton McKee, what have you been up to?
Not
Not
as
that.
much as that.
Yeah.
I don't have near the stories. But then again, I
You should
didn't
have done
go.
this out of order.
Yeah, I realized about the third picture
Yeah.
in. I should have gone
Yeah.
third and then fourth.
Sure.
to
With,
go.
like nothing, sewer, amazing.
Amazing!
Yeah.
And then let me get to what I
and
did.
spray painted lawn.
Sure.
Well, that's thing two. I got two
You got
things.
2 things.
Two things.
Oh,
So
what's
gonna
the
ask
other one?
about that.
Every year I get involved
that's
with and help with a contest called the Sexiest Bartender Contest, one of which you have participated in previous
I've
years.
participated in. a
Isn't that
few,
you
yeah.
third from the left?
No, you
no,
would think.
that's the only one
You would
real
think.
girl that was in the contest for this year. I host it with a season 7 contestant from RuPaul's Drag Race. That is Tucson's own Tempest du Jour, who, if you ask her, she will tell you she was in the first 97 seconds of season 7 before she got voted off the island. So she and I did that event together, raised $30,000 for the local Southwest
Nice.
Center for HIV and AIDS. Now that is done by all the bartenders. What they do, and it has nothing to do with being sexy or not.
a good
It has
picture. I like
absolutely nothing to do with it. What it is there's a liquor sponsor. The liquor sponsor, then you decide you're going to run for it or be part of it. Then you create a cocktail based around that liquor. So it was Tito's handmade vodka
Okay.
was the sponsor this year, and I actually think they've done it for the past couple of years. And they all create different things. Some were lovely. There was actually one that had, and you didn't get it until you took like the second sip. It actually had a little Tabasco in it, and it
Was
made.
that Joey's?
I think it was.
Was that the spicy watermelon?
It may have been Joey's, and it was
Joey's,
it
yeah.
was good. It was really good. But there were a couple that were really enjoyable.
Okay, because that sounds delicious.
It was good because you had the cool.
Because it was Joey from Fez.
Okay.
So you had the
Okay.
it was a
Got it.
watermelon puree, and then there was cucumber in it.
Yep.
There was the
Yes.
Tabasco.
Oh,
it was
that
really
sounds
good.
Really yummy.
So anyway, we enjoyed that. Raised a lot of money. Aaron from Oz won, and Aaron did something that I've never seen anybody else do with this. Normally, there's you show your flair as a bartender. They make the cocktails, or they do a song and dance, or some other number. He actually just talked.
Good on him.
He came out and talked about the fact, and it's something that older generations completely understand, because often the younger generation, it's good and bad. It's like with being out, or the gay movement. So many people paved so many roads previously that it's easier in so many aspects now. The younger generation doesn't know anything about the 80s and when the AIDS epidemic was crazy, and all of the strives, or all of the improvements that have been made with medications and everything over the years, that now so many of them just don't even think about it. Like, they don't care. Like, fine, I'll just go on whatever.
I can go get this med.
I can get this med. I can do whatever. He did this empowered conversation or speech about the getting tested and knowing your status and doing all of these things. But it was, and literally when it was done, he walked off stage and I said, Aaron will be opening his own church in the next couple of weeks, because he did just, I don't know if he literally rehearsed that or if he just came out and just off the cuff did it, but it was so good. He did so well. Now, there is a factor of your score that has to do with talent, but the bigger thing is how much money that you raised over your course of time. So he raised the most money. I don't think he won talent, though. I think Joey from Fez won talent. And then there's also the best cocktail and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, cumulatively about $30,000 for
That's
local
fantastic.
Southwest
That's
Center for
wonderful.
HIV and AIDS, which was fantastic. It's always
That's
interesting to
great.
see. In the pool party, so everybody shows up. It was fun. It was good. It's hot as hell.
No, I can.
But it was all right. Now, but thing
Good on
two,
you. That's awesome.
thing two for me, and if you follow me on Facebook, you may have already seen this today. I just was so, I probably shouldn't be as excited about this as I am, but I am. So fuck you all.
No, I have questions, so I'm glad this
Yeah.
is
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
In Arizona, like other California, they literally, because of all the crazy rain that they had, they're kind of out from under their oppression of drought at this point. Yet, still, they need to be very careful because there's a finite amount of water. But in Arizona, we really aren't on water rationing, but it's so
We should be.
We should be.
We should be.
It's
yeah.
Really
'Cause
should
we're-
be.
It's hot as
Freaking
hell,
Arizona.
and unless you've got just the right setup for your lawn sprinklers and all the other happy horse shit, like I do in the backyard, my front yard takes it's just a crazy amount of water to get it to look right, and I'm just over it. I got the first water bill for an attempt at making it green. I'm like, nope, we're done. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, I was thinking about soccer fields and football fields, and I'm like, well, there is no way that grass is always that pretty, even though it's AstroTurf in some cases. I'm like, they paint it. I know they paint the stripes on, they paint the logos on. There's got to be, and I literally just Googled lawn paint. Didn't know anything about it. Didn't know at all.
didn't?
No, I did nothing. So these pictures,
Oh my God, that's awesome.
obviously the ones on the left, that's before, and the ones on the right are after. I am astounded at how well this looks. When you drive by, it looks like it's a fucking
it absolutely does.
It was astounding.
How long did that take?
It didn't. I started a little before 11.
Oh, I saw the time lapse video.
Oh, wait,
It couldn't have taken long.
I
show you
didn't.
that too.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I
don't mean to be
was there
spoiling
No,
your
no,
segment.
no,
Sorry.
because I mowed first because I wanted it to all be one level because I had a couple weeds here and there and whatnot. So I mowed first to make it level, and then I did all of this in less than an hour.
Okay.
So, but I was astounded with this. But here is the let's see if it just will play here. If it goes, there's the. Oh, hang on, let's start. I'm gonna start this back over. Let's do it from the beginning. But you can see me spraying the whole thing and just makes green stripes
sure.
through the whole thing. So I have ordered 2 more bottles of it. They're going to be here. I have about an 8-foot strip on the one side I have to finish. Supposed to last about 100 days.
Where did you order it from?
Amazon.
Because I don't
Like
know.
all good things?
Right. I don't know what the price difference is, but there's a place on Indian School, Sprinkler World.
Yeah, I know.
And they're the ones that told me about that.
I
to
know all
begin
about
with.
Sprinkler World.
So maybe if just a price check.
Oh no, I should.
And if you want something, they may have something there. But they asked me about doing that, and I was like, no.
I was astounded. I'm so thrilled about this.
Yeah.
So thrilled because my neighbor
Yeah, it's lovely.
my neighbor
It
from
is, yeah.
my neighbor from next door, she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I found out about this." Blah blah blah. She was like, "It looks real. Like
Yeah.
it completely does." So I'm thrilled. I was just excited for the fact
cool.
that I mean it's not Rome. I get it.
Right.
But
it's your
it's a
Rome.
water
Yeah.
it's a water conservation here in my own and my God, I will take an under $100 water bill any day over
Oh, sure.
that is a much larger water bill.
It's a lot of water.
Absolutely.
An under $100. I'm saying, but no. But if you pack all this stuff in, you're to make that as green as you're
I get
probably
that,
approaching
yeah.
$200. And I'm not kidding you. It's insane how much
No, I know
water.
because I'm just now greening
But if-
up my lawn in the back.
But if I had the jets in the front that I do in the back, totally different story. It's just different, and it's not my lawn to spend the money to fix it, to do all that. So whatever. So
Get
anyway,
off my lawn.
So that's it. But anyway, I'm thrilled, and I'm curious because I just saw on Facebook a neighbor of mine just made a comment on a picture. I'm going to assume that it's probably that one. I was curious to see because she's probably going to want to know all about it. I'm just going to guess she probably will.
It's fantastic.
So that's the excitement for me. Nothing. I didn't go anywhere.
And that makes me laugh.
What's going on with Annette? What's she
God
doing?
damn. He just fucking makes me laugh.
What's
His
He has a crush on
his
you.
love for you.
Oh yeah, it is poetry in motion. Watching a middle-aged fat guy spray paint on their fucking grass. That's it.
Yeah, but those red shorts, they really make it.
They're
They
orange.
are.
They
Oh,
really
and,
make
and
it.
I'll have
They're orange.
those
They
are
hug all the curves.
Yeah.
and those are Andrew Christian shorts. I want you to know those are for the sexy man in all of us. They are.
Wow.
Just the one?
You've got loins on fire in
Well, no, there's a skinny one inside.
Yeah,
India.
exactly.
So, oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I
So,
just love that.
oh yeah, it's a good time.
I just have to do one shout
Oh,
out
by all means, Al.
to the good people of Niagara Falls. You've
Yeah.
been getting the Italian food pretty spot on for a long
Oh,
time.
Good on
that's
them.
cool.
The pizza in Naples, they have the bakery style pizza that I was talking about in Niagara Falls. It was, and they even had the one that has just the sauce and the little sprinkle of cheese, not really cheese on it. We used to call it the Moms because the restaurant that sold that kind was called Moms in Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
So good. And the one restaurant we went to had my favorite stuffed shells and veal cutlets. Like the lady that when I go home, the lady makes them for me, just like hers.
Oh,
So delicious. And I was like, it's so funny that Niagara Falls' Little Italy has been getting that food right all along.
That's
That's
fantastic.
They've been giving you literal Italy.
That's
yes.
right. Nice.
And a
Very
lasagna
nice.
in Florence. Oh my God, it was to die for. And that restaurant, like, I need to go back again and have get high and have 3 plates of that fucking lasagna because I was almost crying as I took the last bite. I'm like, it's gone.
Well, we're running
So
terribly late for it, but
sad.
we're going to come back in just a few minutes. We've got headlines. Al's going to give us a drinking word, and we're going to do so much more. It's Q Talk America.
Or Raisin Rehydrator. It turns them back into great.
Wow, what an exhausting journey.
You're listening to Q Talk America.
And now, we dance.
This is the Q Talk America Radio Network.
And now, a drink along. We dare you to stay awake during this royalty-free music and to play a drinking game with us. If you are currently or soon to be driving a car, you cannot play. If you are presently the primary caregiver for children and or the elderly, you may desperately want to play, but no. If you are listening from a rehab facility, you are disqualified because you already hit bottom. And that means you already won this game at least once. If playing this game is in any way illegal for you, put the bottle down and make better life choices. There is no good in your goodbye, and there is no lifeguard on duty, so you will be swimming at your own risk. Tell your lawyer to take the fucking day off. You can't sue us. We warned you. Good luck.
Good luck.
Well, based on an ad and the fact that we missed all of this over there because we only had the internet for a couple seconds, so we had no idea what the hell Kofifi was. And we were trying to figure it out from contextual clues, and it turns out you can't. So
I was going to ask you with regards to your trip, because you were at a immediate headline deficit. You weren't getting updates every 7 seconds of shit that was going on.
Yeah.
How was it over there? And did you get any gauge of anything political, or did you hear anything from anybody local? That was there. Was there any conversation? Did you hear anything about America or Trump?
No,
or any of that bullshit?
the one tour company was called Trump Tours.
Oh God.
With a red hat, and they spent a lot of time apologizing
Oh, wow.
they'd been called that for like almost 100 years.
Oh, okay.
And they were really
Isn't that
upset that it was
interesting?
done to their name. And no, but we heard about a little bit about the London thing, but we didn't know what had happened. Like, we knew there was something had happened with London with the bridge and all that stuff, but we were only online for like minutes,
right?
And you'd be in a like when we would sit in a cafe, you might see like they might have headlines on, but some of the cafes just had music playing, and they didn't really care. Like, it was kind of nice. Like, on the boat, I never had my phone with me. I would like just check whenever like Facebook would come up. I would like go through. As soon as we'd hit something, I would want it because I wanted to know where the pictures were from. So I needed to turn on my phone,
geolocation,
and
right.
I wanted it to geolocate it because like there's two that I was like, I don't know where the hell that was, and luckily it told me what the pictures were. So like, and I would see like a couple stories on Facebook before I would go to bed and be like, what the fuck is Kofifi? We saw the Kathy Griffin thing really fast. We didn't know about the fallout, but I was like, that's probably gonna go badly.
Yeah.
Right.
But it seemed really preposterous, like, and the Bill Maher thing too, which hasn't got a lot of press. So I'm curious to see.
It's starting.
I know, but we're days.
I know.
Right.
He's back this Friday to talk about it. Franken canceled his appearance on the show because of it, according to what I understand.
I haven't seen that.
I'm sure we'll have all those things to come up to
a lot
talk
of
about.
fucking Fifi.
There's that, and here we go. It's a headline segment. We'll see how many different stories Marnie and I can walk over each other with during this. I'm sure it's going to be exciting for everybody. New study says fatty foods make you gay.
Ted Nugent's at it again.
The flying spaghetti monster is back.
Severe diarrhea at a strip club.
Water tower sex, yay!
A different story.
Water slide landing goes viral.
That one's really good too, about rats.
The most misspelled searches on Pornhub's website, and Arizona is in this story. So, of course, all the other states are too. We'll tell you all about it coming up right now on Q Talk America. Okay, well, this I thought was interesting. A self-published, and keep in mind, self-published study claims that eating too many fatty foods can cause homosexuality or can make you transgender.
Oh.
Author
Wow.
Rita
Is that the trans fats? Is that what those are?
Oh,
Could be a
Maybe,
secret.
you don't know.
Could be a
You don't
secret.
know.
Author
deep kofifi.
Rita Strakosha, who says she has a MPS degree in clinical psychology from the Albanian University. I don't know what MPS degree is, but I'm sure Kat will Google it and figure out what it is.
I'm on it.
She sent a 56-page document to Pink News. The document attempts to link homosexuality to an unhealthy diet. It claims, quote, homosexuals often eat large amounts of high glycemic index foods and fat, or eating an imbalanced diet, leaning towards carbohydrates. So homosexuality, as well, appears to have been more frequent among that group, she says.
She's mistaking gays for Americans.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's
That's
I see.
everyone's
Yes.
The
diet.
paper,
Sounded
the
familiar.
paper itself ties homosexuality to fat, sugars, and alcohol, proceeding to claim that cutting them out of your diet can, quote, prevent the return of homosexual attractions.
Wait,
it-
I thought alcohol was pretty low fat. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What are we
And
studying here?
Eating a lot of them will
Hold
keep the
on.
homosexuals from being attratted to you.
happy, that's
right.
true.
There you
So
go.
it's a delightful kofifi there, the way it goes back and forth.
The report continues or argues that following an unhealthy diet, following a healthy diet with no sugar and sleeping adequately will cure homosexuality in an individual and prevent its return. It directs people to avoid or, quote, steer clear of heavy or rich foods, fatty or fried meals, spicy dishes, citrus fruits, and carbonated drinks. If they want to stay heterosexual, you must stay away from these foods. So chicken nuggets are completely off the menu. Meanwhile, apparently, keeping a healthy diet with low sugar, no sugar, low and high glycemic index foods or fat will be enough to prevent those gay urges.
That's all gay men are on that. Jesus Christ. Like, they're all, you know what I mean? They're all on
Right.
some kind of,
Everybody's on a diet.
I know, go to California and throw a thing of bread on the table and watch them lose their minds.
It's
It's like an attack dog.
The study goes deeper. Apparently,
Ooh. Pass the tip.
Apparently, you can't masturbate either, according to the study. The study
Well,
quotes an ancient
fuck me.
Chinese
Well.
spiritualist who directs, quote,
Anant, hands in the air.
I need to see both hands,
Yeah,
please.
Hands up, don't masturbate.
The Chinese spiritualist quotes, in spring, man may permit himself to ejaculate once every 3 days, but in summer and autumn, he should limit it to twice a month. And during the cold winter, he should preserve his semen and avoid ejaculation altogether. Once ejaculate,
I shared a hotel room with somebody for 10 days.
one ejaculation in winter. One ejaculation in winter is 100
Gonna
times
avert my eyes now.
is 100 times more harmful than one done in the
Nothing
spring.
dirty going on there, let me tell you.
For real.
Now,
Some of those breezes got a little stimulating.
PinkNews.com has tried to contact the author for comment, but understandably, she has not responded to any of the questions bearing facts or figuring out what her facts are. But if the study had said drinking mimosas may be tied to homosexuality, maybe we could all believe that.
Yeah, that's
Well, that's a chicken and egg kind of a scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, which came first, the
Right.
mimosas or the
Or the
gays?
homos,
Yeah.
right.
Right. Because I swear to
point.
God, it's in my DNA. There are some Sundays where I am legitimately unbearable to live with until there's like some alcohol in my hand.
Okay.
It's really
Bloody
not
Mary,
okay.
mimosa,
Dip
simple beer.
Whatever your flavor,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter as long as it's alcoholic on a Sunday about 2:00.
You're
Has
in
to
full-
happen.
Give her a check.
The author of the story follows up at the end. He goes, hang on, Rita. Where are you getting your information? Replace high glycemic with low carb and imbalanced with ultra balanced or something like that. You could not name a more fit and diet conscious group of people on the entire planet than the gays. She clearly hasn't seen Fire Island.
Yeah.
Don't place all the blame on her, though. It may have something to do with the fact that she went to an Albanian university.
For what's only described as a naval postgraduate school is all MPS seems to mean. Ooh.
Says,
Kofifi.
I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. Telling someone to give up nuggets is forgivable. It's not like she's telling us that we can and can't masturbate,
Yeah.
though. Silly.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
That is crazy.
So,
NPS
None of
has
us.
something to do with news. Carry on.
please.
Go.
The what
All
does?
The NPS, it has something to do with
Okay.
news on my
All right.
quick Google search. I'm so sorry. Carry
No,
on.
you're absolutely fine. So, Ted Nugent,
Oh, just a treat.
still.
Is coming to Phoenix very, very soon.
Yeah, that was my understanding, and that
Who's
just made
organizing the
fucking
protest?
sense.
Wait, who is
Right.
organizing the
It's
protest?
really a good point.
Because we should go.
I think we should.
Wow.
I'm not mad.
It's not the NRA.
And I think that's not a bad idea.
Well,
because just for
but
real.
I'm very busy. I'm not organizing it, but I'll show up.
I'm not saying
I'm
you
not
need to
taking.
organize.
I'm not
No.
taking charge of it.
Oh
So-
God, no.
No.
Your summer's off.
Right, summer off.
So there was we were discussing briefly the Kathy Griffin
Yeah.
holding the severed
Yeah,
head
right.
looking.
Well, that had
of
just happened last week
dickbag Trump, right?
before
right.
the show. Sure.
Right.
So during her tearful press conference, I don't believe it had that yet.
Which
That
I think was a
few days
terrible
later.
mistake.
Terrible
I
idea.
Stood
I
right
agree.
next to
Terrible
I
idea.
agree. Kathy compared her photo holding the bloody Donald Trump head to Ted Nugent's past comments that many interpreted as the musician joking about killing
Yeah.
Obama.
Right.
it. Fair.
And he told Hillary to sit on that he wanted her to sit on the end of his gun.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
there are a whole lot of people that are outraged, whatever your opinion, but not outraged about a lot of different things that were done about Obama.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, yeah.
Listen, this is America. If you threaten our white guys, you're in
No,
trouble.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
Oh, that is
Oh,
the
I
difference.
missed
Remember
it.
they turned the hope thing to rope and
Yes,
had
yeah.
Obama being hung.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
There were all kinds
Yeah.
of things.
We don't care about our black people,
No.
but if you threaten our white men,
It's a good call.
Yeah.
we're
call.
offended.
Yeah, that's a really good call. In 2012, Nugent had said that we need to ride into that battlefield and chop their, meaning the Obama administration's, heads off in November. If Barack Obama becomes the next president, he said in November, again, I will either be dead or in jail by this time next year. Remember we had that
Damn,
countdown?
we missed on
We
both.
were
Yeah.
hoping.
We had that
I was
countdown.
hoping for number one, honestly.
Wishing
and
and
change.
hoping
Yeah.
and praying.
Yeah.
And wishing. Yeah.
The musician
when
called
they
the
say-
You're
Fox
welcome.
News specialist on Friday to address Griffin's comparison and defend his past statements. He said the idea that Griffin's actions toward Trump and his concerning Obama were similar, but that's absolutely false, he said. Nugent said the Secret Service had looked into the matter. They concluded absolutely conclusively, I did not threaten anybody's life. According to the musician,
They determined that it wasn't a credible threat that they needed to take action on.
No. It's all in how you interpret things.
Yeah.
Kathy Griffin and the whole left, the whole thing, just repeat the lie that he threatened the president's life. It never happened, he said. So co-host Ebony Williams pressed Nugent on what he meant by comments made during that 2007 onstage rant, where he reportedly said, Obama, he's a piece of shit. I told him to suck on my machine gun. Hey, Hillary, you might want to ride one of these into the sunset, you worthless bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Because
nice.
he's
A
a
lovely human.
delight.
Yeah.
God, it's so articulate. Nugent said the Griffin situation, Trump and his family are just reacting to her vile actions. None of that was vile, by the way, that earlier statement
yeah,
of his.
yeah.
No. He said that his statement, on the other hand, was just an outrageous metaphor. That's all. Just an outrageous metaphor. It's good to see that everyone is condemning Kathy Griffin's actions because it is nasty, he said. This is a world of terrorism where beheading is a reality. We're talking apples and grenades here.
Oh, and he's got the grenades.
Yeah.
Oh, he's apples. She's
My
grenades. He's blowing
favorite,
things up.
because the internet is lovely, there are so many like very clever like replies and you know, kind of on Kathy Griffin's side. My very favorite though was a tweet that read, "Hey you guys, what's the big deal? This is just how girls talk in locker rooms."
I saw that. I enjoyed that one.
Oh.
That was
That
fantastic.
was my favorite.
I enjoyed
Yes.
that one.
That's I agree.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna feel free to quote that.
Yep,
Please do.
I do.
Please
That was fantastic. Nugent says, I did nothing to harm anyone. She came out with this symbolism that was truly vile. Because his words were so silly to me. So just to be clear, Nugent concludes that Griffin's unacceptable actions do not fall under the control of free speech.
And that's
But
true.
he's totally cool with telling someone to suck on a machine gun because that's just a metaphor.
Because when you're a white man, you can say
Yes.
anything and do anything you want.
Absolutely.
But if you're a woman,
And
maybe
especially
not.
if it's against someone of
Right.
color. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But it just further
it's
proves
a super, yeah.
dick bag alert coming to Phoenix
Such
very
a
soon.
fine line between
Well,
taste.
and I
But
can't
it's
so
believe
Fifi.
that.
But
I need a drink.
isn't it lovely that we live in a place where you can say all of those horrible things that you want free from fear of the government coming to your house and stealing you away and hiding you in a hole for the rest of your life.
He didn't get taken.
Or just kill you.
Well, Kathy Griffin didn't get taken either. Settle down.
No. I'm not saying
Right.
that she did, but he's drawing this. He's saying that there is no comparison, and that's absurd.
Right.
Like he got.
But he gets to live in that world.
He does, absolutely. You're
because
right.
we live in this place where that happens.
That's right.
Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Where we can sit here around a table and spout off about whatever we want.
Well, and he didn't have like her career. They're saying could be tanked. I don't believe so.
I don't think so
believe
either.
so at all.
Right.
But he didn't have to worry about that because he doesn't have a
He
career.
doesn't really have a career anymore. But I think she did more damage to herself doing that press
Yeah, I
conference
agree,
with Gloria
yes.
Allred and standing there crying and bullshit.
Yeah.
That was the worst thing she could have done.
The
She
press
should-
conference and even the
the
canned
apo-
apology.
the
I was
apology.
like, what
Didn't need to do either
are
one.
you doing?
If she
Yeah,
just
I agree.
shut up and didn't say a word,
Say,
she'd have been better
yep,
off.
I fucking said it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, boom,
Yeah.
done.
The end.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree. I don't think she should have done anything else because then she looked like she was this. And now, unless
And the whole thing may be a stunt,
Jen.
like from
Right,
the
that's-
thing to
it
the
could.
apology. The whole thing may
Right,
be.
sure.
that's what That's what I was wondering. If
We've
there
seen
was,
a lot of Kathy Griffin in our life.
Yeah.
Right. That's what, when she did that crying press conference. The other thought to me was, what is she setting up for? What is she leading up to? Is there the No Apologies World Tour coming up for her?
Sure.
I don't know. Like, I thought maybe there might be something, but
Right.
I think on the surface it looks like, I'm like, why would you do that?
Is the D list being rebranded the Blacklist? And is she?
There
The
you go.
dead
Right,
list,
right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, setting herself up to be the Dixie Chicks of this, to like
Sure.
of this administration. And I really, because I was like, it's kind of not funny. It's a little performance arty, which is not
Not my favorite.
not her Kofifi.
Not her
You know what I mean?
computer. That's not my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, it really
But
was. And the couple of people, because the picture when like everybody saw the picture when they checked into Facebook, the picture came up, and there was people that were like, "Oh, it's too far, it's too much." I'm like,
It's fine. It's a
Is it?
Because
it's
she
a
didn't-
mannequin head with
Right.
ketchup on
And
it.
she
Yeah.
didn't, and she didn't actually say what Nugent said,
Right.
Which was literally kill them, hang
Yes.
them, whatever the hell he said.
Yeah.
She didn't say a word. It was just an image,
Yep. Absolutely.
and you read into it whatever you read into it.
Well, and so I can see though how they were. She had an image that was presented. He presented an image.
Right. Oh, good point.
I mean, and so that's the difference.
And she didn't say nothing. She said, well, there was blood coming out of his eyes,
Oh,
out
that's
of
true.
his whatever.
Right.
In reference to what he said about Kelly, Megan Kelly.
yeah. So I think it is part of a bigger thing, and she has a career that could tank. He doesn't.
Exactly.
Like, you know,
Absolutely.
like Ted Nugent's going to be here June 27th to do what
Right.
exactly?
Just
Is
to
he
piss
Cat
people
Scratch
off.
Fever?
Celebrity theater, yeah.
Like
And
he's got
that's it.
one song.
Amina, that's a good point. He says, "Does Kathy get death threats all the time?" Now, she commented about that. I would venture to guess she probably gets threats of some sort because she's always calling out somebody.
Yeah, and like a bunch of us were. We met a guy that was in the Priscilla show. We met him and talked to him the one night, and he was commenting that like she wasn't his style of humor, and I'm like, yeah, she kind of fell off my radar a couple years ago too because her act just became about the Real Housewives of wherever, and I don't watch those shows, so I found her to be not that relevant anymore, and you know she got kind of in trouble for that stupid comment on Fashion Police where they booted her off of that,
yeah.
Right.
and that was so stupid. The girl with the cornrows saying
Right.
that she smelled like hemp or made some joke
Right.
about like alluding to the fact that she smoked weed because of the cornrows, and like I was like, okay, now we're at the level of like hypersensitivity about nothing.
Right.
Like making a Rastafarian joke about somebody with dreads is like
Now it feels like we have too many crosses and we just need to start naming
yeah,
people
yeah.
up.
Yep.
It just struck me the exact same way of like there's a bigger picture here because the gays aren't flocking to her anymore. Like she might be touring, but like if you're
Yeah.
not
Well,
watching
her
the
act
Bachelor,
isn't as shocking as it was.
and she's not on the D list. You know, you got a couple Emmys. You've been nominated for Grammys. You've done your TV shows. You do New Year's Eve. Like you're
Not anymore.
really
You're
not
the
the D list.
you're not the everyman anymore.
Well, she's not doing New Year's Eve at least on CNN this year.
But the fun with the New Year's Eve is kind of waned too. Like he's
Yeah.
out.
Right. There's no mystery.
There's no like what
You can only shock Anderson Cooper so many ways.
so many times
Right.
and make fun of the fact that he has no idea what's going on in pop culture. But then you got to find that hard to believe. Like you can't be vacationing with Andy Bravo, whatever that guy's name is,
Andy Cohen.
You can't be vacationing with him and pretend you have no idea what your
Right.
friend that you're vacationing with is doing.
Right.
So, Kofifi, honey.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Well, that may come back and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Sure.
We've talked about this before, and I don't recall what show it was, but I do know because I
show
stumbled
with
upon
Clayton McKee.
I do know I stumbled upon the first flying is show number 70.
Okay.
So because I know it was very early. I just happened to find out. Sean Corbett. Sean Corbett drives for a living as a Lyft and Uber driver, actually right here in the Phoenix metropolitan area. His
Gig economy.
His driver's license is crucial to making his both ends meet for his life and his household. But there's one little catch. We've talked about this before. He's a religious man. He is one of these
Oh, this guy.
Pastafarians.
Oh yeah, right.
Somebody on my Facebook feed got him as a Lyft driver recently.
Oh my God, that's
Pastafarian
fantastic.
is part of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, which says that the world was created 5,000 years ago by a flying spaghetti monster. Now,
That
Sean
spaghetti
admits
will be delicious.
Sean admits his religion is completely satirical, and some would even say it's ridiculous. I agree that it's ridiculous. But he wears a spaghetti colander he purchased at Goodwill on his head, and it's secured by an elastic strap because you don't want it to fall off.
Safety first, kids.
Yeah, safety.
first.
Sean calls it religious headwear, and he says the NVD refused to allow him to wear it in his driver's license photo. He says, quote, "It's been a personal mission to keep pushing and not let the naysayers say that I can't." Well, Sean says he tried 2 years ago and visited several MVD locations and was always turned down. But recently, a Chandler MVD location allowed him to take a picture with the colander, and within weeks, that showed up at home. His new ID came in the mail.
I just have 2 thumbs up and a giant Kofifi to him.
With his colander. The whole process, he says the whole process is intimidating, especially when people are yelling at you and scorning you for making a mockery out of their system, he says. Sean's new ID, however, is now in hot water. State officials are now saying facial recognition software failed to weed out this photo in the process, and says they're actually going to void it. The photo ID will be voided. This has been he says this has been this type of discrimination and religious persecution that I've been going through for the last couple of years. An Arizona Department of Transportation spokesperson says that there are exceptions made for religious headwear and medical needs. However, this type of display will not be allowed.
If he takes it to court, though, they might lose because the Flying Spaghetti Monster Church got actual church status. We've covered this off and on
Yeah.
over the years a lot.
So Mr. Corbett says the fight is
Go
far
to
from
one
over.
meeting.
Fire from over. He says he plans legal action, and he added that if there is an exception made for one religion, there has to be exceptions made for all.
And he's not wrong.
Absolutely. He's not wrong.
And if you look it up, there are
I don't disagree with him.
Yeah.
Right.
Kofifi, that bitch.
there are a ton of pictures of the Church of the Pastafarians with all these fucking colanders on their head.
No,
It's all over.
they're federally registered as a church, however they do that. though.
Dare I say they're legit?
As far as churches go, sure.
Right? No, right. That's
There
what I'm
you
saying.
have it, sure.
I'm not saying they're sane,
Yes, but legit.
but I do appreciate them trying to prove a point about who was it? I'm trying to think, who was it that I used to say that they illustrate ridiculousness by being ridiculous. Who is it that used to say that all the time? I forget who it was. It was somebody on a radio show or a TV show that was their
Isn't
thing.
that like the Seinfeld formula?
No, well, I get that. No, but this was a host that actually said that. Like he's showing you the ridiculousness of the world by being ridiculous. And it may have been Colbert when he was Colbert.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because he was literally
That was
the character was being ridiculous based on the ridiculousness of what he was parodying. So anywho,
Well, I just want us to go to Florida.
who doesn't?
Well,
I-
solely based on, you have Ted Nugent, then you have Florida.
I have
So
friends in
just-
Florida.
Let's say I'm
Just
a
awful.
good friend in Orlando.
Well,
Take us to Disney World.
Orlando.
I love you. So, Jacksonville might be a place that we want to avoid. And/or
That seems fair. End
Yeah.
of story. Next.
Yeah.
Isn't that northern Florida?
Can we just put the wall around there and be done?
No.
Well, you just don't want to be
Anywhere
at,
in the handle.
you just don't want to be at the Jacksonville strip club that was blamed for severe diarrhea incident on
You
stage.
can put a period anywhere in that sentence, and I'm on board.
yeah.
Day
Don't want to go to
strippers.
Jacksonville. Don't
Yeah.
want to go to
Don't
the Jacksonville strip club.
No.
Sure as hell don't want to eat in a strip club.
Day
Apparently-
strippers with diarrhea. That's the name of my book.
Apparently, This strip club was a popular strip club in Jacksonville, Florida, and it's been closed until further notice.
What will the people do?
Well, I'm not sure yet.
Imodium. I'm thinking Imodium.
Imodium might have. After several dancers contracted diarrhea. The cause of the incident, which remains under investigation, has been initially linked to a contaminated buffet at the venue.
Oh, the day stripper buffet.
While the investigation does continue,
Wash
the
your hands
venue-
twice.
the venue has not been named. We can't name the venue, but it's just that closed one.
Yeah.
As you're driving by, let's go to that
Wait,
show. Oh, it's closed.
How hard can this be defined?
I know,
Stand
right?
by.
Yeah.
According to reports by local media, the strip club was nearly full on Friday night when full of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
When,
Crapper's full.
Hey, Clark, shooter's full.
We like to send out a mailer.
That Kofifi's just flying everywhere.
I just dropped some Kofifi on the stage.
Performing next, Kofifi.
Yeah.
Stage number 2.
Don't touch her lettuce. It's contaminated.
She's
Is that a euphemism?
Well-
no, honey, don't touch the lettuce.
So it was nearly full when
The bells of innuendo are going to stop ringing. Well, we tell you about the things.
a
Those
big bell.
tomatoes.
When the incident occurred, the place was pretty full, and both staff and customers were reported to have eaten from that free buffet, which included the usual selection of ribs, chicken, deep fried shrimp. Of course, you know.
Of course.
Salmonella!
Oh, there you have
cha
it.
cha cha.
Orlando.
While the results of the lab analysis are yet to come back, one source familiar with the investigation told reporters that bad shrimp was most likely the cause of the diarrhea. Typically, shrimp
She was
are
on
involved in most cases
bad
like
shrimp.
this.
She was on stage number 2.
Yeah, bad shrimp.
Particularly when they're not cleaned thoroughly, because it's always the shrimp's
Yeah.
fault.
Where's the shrimp? Near
Where's
the queer.
shrimp? It was the shrimp in the buffet at the strip club
With a dirty
with
hand.
a dirty ass.
Is Aaron still listening? I've got a question about his food poisoning.
Yeah, I know, right? Where were you when this struck? So patrons
Traveled recently.
I know, right? Patrons at the venue who were sitting, not shitting, but sitting near the stage were most directly affected by that incident, which occurred close to about 11 p.m. According to a witness at the venue, 3 dancers were performing on separate poles when the first sign of trouble emerged.
First sign of trouble. I don't want signs 2 or 3.
No.
Yeah.
The first sign is enough.
At first, I picked up a bad smell. I thought maybe the guy
No.
next to me had farted, said the witness, who
But nope,
declined to
shit.
be named. Who declined to be named?
I've shit
in the-
myself, haven't I?
It was very convenient. However,
Was that you, sir? Nope.
Oh, I've shit myself, haven't I?
Oh, my.
Go, Fifi.
However, the smell got worse, and I noticed a lot of other guys were looking around to see what it was. It was at this point that the first dancer to suffer from diarrhea wasn't able to control her bowels any longer, and a stream of brown liquid soon gushed over the stage. It was absolutely disgusting, he told the journalist. Not
Especially
the
when she
dancing,
spun on the
but
pole.
yeah, right.
It's gone aerial. It's gone aerial.
A number of guests immediately puked. I ran for the exit. I lost all interest in the show. The other
Suddenly it's a
dancers,
Barbarama.
right? The other dancers on stage also suffered from diarrhea soon after and were forced to abandon their performance. I don't know why. They had a hard time getting off the stage, said one witness.
Why can't you just slide off?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
slippery, yeah.
Right? And this guy, come
get
on,
traction.
because he knows this because he stayed to watch the aftermath. High heels and diarrhea really don't mix.
It's the name of my second book.
Some of the guests, chapter 2. Some of the guests who had been enjoying the show also contracted diarrhea, and there was a rush on the men's room, which unfortunately didn't have enough stalls to cope with the sudden influx of
Oh,
demand.
my God.
Cleaners who were hired to deal with the mess reported they were
Hazmat.
shocked at the condition of the venue. Strip clubs are generally dirty places, but this was a whole new level, said one. In my time, I've seen feces in a urinal once or twice, but never in the sinks. It was like that. It was like the bridesmaids,
Oh.
right?
Coming out of me like lava. Look away!
Look away! In an
That's the
effort
best
to
scene from that
compensate
movie.
customers, this is my favorite. In an effort to compensate customers for the incident, the venue's management took to social media to offer free entry to any guests who had been at the club on Friday night. Management also noted that the free buffet would not be available until further notice. That's like those things that, like, you go to Circle K and they're like, if the coffee is shitty, we'll give you a free cup. I don't want a free cup of shitty coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, right. I want to pay $2 for a cup of good coffee.
Exactly. And so therefore I will go elsewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't want to be there to begin with.
Right.
But now? Oh, but we can get in free. I feel okay with not.
In a hilarious parallel,
I see.
I may or may not have spent
Oh,
the
boy.
afternoon imagining like alliterations to describe serving shit for dinner because I'm arguing with one of my kids right now
Okay.
because he's being a picky little son of a bitch. And I personally believe that if someone like makes food for you and puts it on a table for you, the only appropriate response is to fucking
Thank
eat
you.
it and say thank
and
you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mommy Dearest.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Settle down. I'm not perfect.
I
Yeah.
like it.
So we've gone from shit on a shingle to turds on toast to poop on a
I
plate.
love it. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
really nice.
I found a picture of one of the patrons
That's
from
Kofifi
that
in a
bar.
cup. I'll help.
He was sitting front row. I mean, that's one of the live shots they had of him. They're from the
That's when she went aerial.
yeah.
Slipping and a sliding, Jenny says.
It's not okay.
Blue
But
apron
we
no
no longer
longer.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well played.
Well, and
I
I do have to say, 'cause
appreciate
I was
that.
I was very nervous about the buffet part of the ship,
Oh,
but you
yeah.
do end up having to eat there, and they like
Sure.
and they had an Indian section that the food was pretty good. Like it's just where you have to go to get a quick snack and be on your way.
Sure.
Right.
But luckily, like as you walk in from any entrance, it didn't matter where you snuck in. There was a lady with hand sanitizer
Okay.
in a spray bottle, like catching everybody, and they had hand sanitizer stations like every 5 feet. Like there were
Oh, that's
more
good. That's
in
smart.
that buffet than there were in the hospital that I work at. Like
Wow.
they were ready.
Good.
And I there was no time that I was gonna pass up that chance to, like, because you're always touching railings, you're always like holding.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You're like, oh, and my hands have been somewhere sketchy.
Were
just
there
since
any
I washed
kids
them.
on this thing?
There were quite a few, not as many as if it had been like 2 weeks later, because
Okay.
not all of school is out yet.
Got it.
Oh.
The East Coast school's still in.
Still go.
Yeah. I think Arizona is one of the few states that finishes as early as. I don't think many other states
Lots of
finish
places
this
in
early.
June, like second week in June,
June,
or
yeah.
first
So,
second week in June.
I'm sure there could have been a lot more.
Right.
But and they were all. I managed to avoid them like anything
Right.
else.
Reasonably managed. Well, because there are adult-only areas that.
Oh my god! And it was Romanian middle-aged lady soup one day. Like I went to the adults-only pool and had a drink, and I was like, "Oh, I don't want to see any of this." And then later, like different adults. But I mean, that day
Oh.
it would just happen to be middle-aged Tulsa, Oklahoma meets Cincinnati in an ill-fitting bathing suit, all in one hot tub.
That's
it
a
was
good time.
just
Oh my!
awful.
Isn't it
And
funny
I
how
thought
that-
all that could make this prettier is if I showed up there. If the middle-aged pale white guy with the farmer tan.
Could you tell me about the strip club again?
It's in Jacksonville.
We're going to Jackson. No, I'm kidding.
I'll be dancing on a pony keg.
Oh, something.
I know the lyrics.
Doily. Can we dance doily?
She shit joyly across the stage.
I think this story has made several. I actually wanted to do it last week, but for some reason it got bumped for.
We were very busy.
We were. Due to an ill-timed painting break for painters, a water tower emblazoned with the word sex was greeting drivers as they passed through a town in southwest Wisconsin. Let's cut to a picture of the water tower in question here. The gaff turned up in Sussex, a village about 20 miles northwest of Milwaukee. WTMJ TV reports that workers painting the town's name on the water tower stopped midway through to allow the paint to dry Wednesday. They plan to finish the painting the next day. One driver, Jessica Bruss, told the Milwaukee television station that she almost drove off the road when her 8-year-old son pointed out the word as they drove past the water tower Wednesday on their way to his first baseball game. Mommy, why does it say sex? Bruss recounted, her son saying, I immediately thought, not today. We're not having this conversation today. We're going to play baseball. Bruss said that the unfinished paintwork may be funny for adults, but added, people should remember that kids are seeing this also. Now, resident Chris Ackroyd wrote on his website that workers oddly made the same mistake when they painted the tower back in 1996, which warranted a mention and picture in Playboy magazine.
Chris, you need a hobby.
Right.
Yeah, so Sussex.
I think I sent you a I sent you something similar.
Can we save that photo for someday when we have the green screen room where I
There
can
you
go
go, yeah.
live on location?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, that's a good
Put
call.
that in that folder.
All right,
That's a
I
really
sent you
good
something
idea.
that hopefully comes up.
You airdropped something to me here.
Oh, good. Hopefully it pulls up and it's not just a generic page.
Well, we're gonna
because
find
it
out.
reminded me of something immediately.
Immediately. It's my favorite pronunciation of that word.
Ms. Ryer, while I'm looking. Oh wait, does this go with that story?
Yeah, no, it goes with the one you just told.
Oh, we'll do
Immediately, sir.
wait.
Immediately. Time is of the Kofifi essence.
Well, let me see if I can get to it as expediently as you would like me to. Oh,
It's right there. There it is.
hey, I do enjoy it.
Because it just reminded me of the town sign for Schitt's Creek.
Oh my god.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Let me
Don't
tell
worry,
you
it's his sister. When they added that to
the best. The very best. I almost paid $30 for like season 3.
I know.
I also need like a password for like somebody's Canadian internet accounts or something.
Yeah, I need more David.
Yes.
Because I need to know where the kiss ended up.
What's happening? Right. He's kissing
This-
girls. He's kissing
This
boys.
is what I was talking about.
Where everyone fits in. Doesn't it look like
It's
she's
fantastic.
about to take her from behind?
That's
No.
his sister. Don't be crude.
Maybe we could fix the sign. Don't worry. It's his sister.
Oh my God,
So
it's
good.
fucking hysterical.
Everything about
Yeah.
that show.
Everything.
But I watched that whole show in the span of about 6 days. Like,
Yeah.
choop, all the way through.
And I thought, oh no, I'll slow down now. I can't because
I even took it to the gym with me because Netflix has this download feature now.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, I downloaded an episode, the last episode that was available on my
just
phone
need
because
a
I could not
picture.
wait and also had to be at the gym. So, yeah.
Yeah, these two things came
Those two
together.
things had to happen
I
at the
watched
same
8
time.
episodes of Kimmy Schmidt on the plane via the
download
download
feature?
thing. People around me
Oh, it's fucking hysterical.
were
that
like
show.
wondering what was
Yeah.
wrong with me mentally because I was screaming, laughing.
Cackling. Yeah. That needs
that's
another
fantastic.
watch.
Oh god, Lemonade.
No, the
I'm lemonading.
the last story that I have. Clinton, do you have the picture?
I'm going to have
Okay,
this picture.
sorry, I didn't know if it had gotten to you. That's all I was.
The one you just said?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I think we got that one
Oh,
there.
for God's sake!
Yeah, it's a hard one to get.
Oh, it's a hard one to find. You
Sure.
know,
Yeah.
it's hard. So police are looking for a man. He shouldn't be hard to
Who
find.
isn't, sister?
I'm saying because he's in a giant penis costume.
Yes.
Like this
He's
one.
right there. The if you live in or near Leeds, England, which none of us do, so
Sure
if we
don't.
find him, my God, he's
Listeners,
traveled.
if you're
And
anywhere
please,
in
that's right,
England.
near Leeds, England, please contact authorities immediately if
and
you
then
see
contact
this.
us.
Oh,
Yeah, 'cause we wanna interview him.
Absolutely, contact
Yeah,
us.
we
The
need
suspect is about 6 feet tall, Caucasian, and looks like a giant penis. A group of men, including
White guys
a man
all look the
wearing
same. Like,
this-
how do you
I know,
tell them
right?
apart?
Every single one of them. They're wanted for the serious
You
assault.
see a white guy in a bathroom, you just assume.
They're wanted for the serious assault of a 26-year-old man that occurred in Leeds Center on April 3rd, according to an appeal to the public released by the West Yorkshire Police. The victim reportedly suffered a shattered shin bone, that's a lot, torn ligaments, and a dislocated knee after he was attacked by a group of men
By a
having a
big dick.
bachelor party. The victim was very badly injured and will still require further surgeries. This was like a bunch of people
Yeah.
talk about getting beat up by a bunch of dicks.
Because the only
Yeah.
thing worse than a bachelor party is a bachelorette party, and we all know how horrible those are.
That's true. This is actually not a very funny story, but other than the giant penis costume, that part is pretty funny. Police described one of the assailants' outfits as a distinctive fancy dress outfit and included the photo above to help people locate the suspect. It certainly is distinctive. We've been making extensive inquiries to identify those involved and would like to hear from anyone who witnessed the incident or was any information that would assist in tracing the group involved. It was a stag party or something similar.
Which is what they call bachelorette parties.
No,
in
I know,
England.
but or something similar.
Yeah.
Like what? I don't know.
Maybe it was his third marriage.
It could be.
Maybe it was just a bunch of douchebags out on the town.
They say that they think anyone. I like how very proper there. But we think anyone who encountered them during the evening would recall it.
Yeah.
Guy, what did he look like
And
again?
should report it immediately.
Can you
Immediately.
tell me, please? Let's hope they find the giant penis and other penises who committed the awful crime. Just because they're all a bunch of dicks.
I'm
But
envisioning
it is-
I'm envisioning the press conference because you know how British people are. Everything's a question. So they're in a press conference. The reporter's like, "Well, what did he look like?" And he goes, "Well, he looked like a willy, didn't he? He looked like a willy. I mean, that's what he looked like, a willy." I can imagine how that would have gone.
On a related cock costume kofifi sort of conundrum.
Oh,
We've all been there.
There is a very touching story about someone in a cock costume that's made it going around the internet today, and it's a comedian who has Russell in his name. I don't know if Russell's his first name or his last name. I didn't realize it was his name behind him till the end. But he talks about he's famous enough in England to be part of some young kid with cancer's Make-A-Wish list.
not
that
Russell
there was,
Brand.
That'd be Russell
who-
Howard.
Oh,
Russell
okay.
Howard, that was his name. And it's a really funny, it's the end of his latest DVD, his stand-up routine. And he talks about meeting this kid that had cancer. He was part of the Make-A-Wish thing. And the kid found him from watching an internet video that he made where he dressed in a cock costume and went and did all this stuff. That's where I thought you were going with this.
Okay.
Because I had just seen this. And
I
it's
haven't heard of
making the
this.
rounds, and the kid planned his funeral. It's like I said, it's going around today. Everybody's like passing it around, and it's a very touching thing. So if you get a chance, Russell Howard and the cock costume. I don't want to spoil the joke, but it's
I love it.
it's
I'll have to
charming
look.
and funny.
I'm laughing about the fact that you just don't think that if somebody starts a costume story that there could be 5 different
Right,
possibilities.
yeah, that's true.
I would never.
Oh, I was thinking about the other costume
Oh,
story.
I'm sorry. What a kofifi of cock
Right.
costumes.
How many current costumes are there?
Turns out 2 that we all know of.
Why are we not telling the punchline to the Russell Howard story?
It's just
Isn't that what we do?
But it's not really a punchline. It's more of a story, and it really is a charming 5-minute video.
There's a build-up.
All right.
There's a build up, and the cock costume shows up twice during the story.
Because why wouldn't it?
Sure.
But and like Anand says, you're laughing and crying at the same time because it really is lovely. And I never heard of this comedian before, but he was pretty funny.
Russell
And kind of cute.
Howard. I'm going to write this down so I can look at it later.
I'm sure it's going to be in your inbox. Somebody's going to post it to your Facebook page any second.
Any
now.
minute now.
Oh, won't that be exciting?
Yeah.
Okay.
At this point, it's going to be Amina.
Probably so.
Probably.
With some other pictures.
3.
You never know.
Anand's laughing, crying, and masturbating all while he's listening to this. You are a busy boy, honey.
Honey, maybe you should get out
multitask.
more. I feel like this isn't healthy
He
anymore.
multitasks.
Can I tell my
appreciate
my
that.
last story?
Yes, please do.
Okay.
We've kofifi'd him into a box.
Is it going to make an ant laugh, cry, or
or
masturbate?
masturbate.
This next story.
Or is it a try?
We need to
It could be. It could be all 3.
We're going to rate all future stories.
By what Anand is doing while he listens.
We're gonna go to our color coding reference. Is it? Show me on the video where he hurt you.
Yeah.
All right. So water slides are pretty awesome. Al was just on water slide on the boat that he was running around on. But one man just took water slides to a whole new level. When I saw this video, I
When
was
the
even
stripper
impressed.
shit down it.
No, different one.
That's not okay.
The internet is in awe of this video. This man exits the water slide in a truly epic fashion. So I wanted to show you this right quick. There's no sound, but I'm going to show you this video right quick. It just
Should we create the
watch
sound?
watch this kid. He slides off.
Oh.
Hits
Oh!
no,
Oh, come on.
No.
Oh, it ends well.
no. He does it on purpose. He slides out, gets there, steps right up, boom, up. And puts
my
his shirt on.
God.
He's done this before, is my guess.
I thought it was a video of him breaking his legs.
No.
I did too.
He hit it, boom, up, right on it. I
Wow,
thought that was
he
fantastic.
has an aerodynamic ass.
Yeah, I thought that was amazing.
And Anand
just
hands
skipped right
hands
off
in the
there.
air because I'm having the same feelings right now.
Boom,
Yeah,
up. I thought that was pretty good.
I just found out I had loins and what they do.
Oh boy.
Awkward.
I know.
There's a little awkwardness.
Agree.
I thought
Hands
they were
on the
lions.
table at all times.
I thought they were lions.
Both hands.
It was just a misprint.
Oh my God.
Because
That's terrible.
of the wonderful things he does. And he's back here on States. We're going to go into entertainment with Al Perkins.
Immediately.
Yeah, immediately. And I cut it short because of the long slideshow.
Looks like a willy, doesn't he?
Cyndi Lauper has a new assignment for Broadway. I'm not on the right page. We have a new series to watch.
Ooh, I'm excited.
I have a couple of original cast recordings that I need to chat about.
I forgot about my last story. We'll go back to it.
Okay.
Completely forgot about it.
And that's pretty much it. I really didn't plan much because I was like, I'm going to take up way too much time with those fucking slides.
We're still going to take up way too
I'm
much
with
time
you,
doing
Jenny.
this, but
So
carry on.
They are planning a musical for Broadway of Working Girl. And Cyndi Lauper has been tasked with writing the lyrics and music like she did for Kinky Boots.
Very smart.
She is very excited,
it.
and I think it's a good combination. They're going to keep it set in the 80s.
Okay.
And tell what is it? One of my favorite movies.
I agree. Mine too.
Beautifully acted and directed, and always
Beautifully
a treat.
realized.
Yes, exactly. Always a treat to find at any time of the day or night on any cable station. So that's coming up, and then the Tonys are on this weekend, and I decided to be a little bit more ready and finally cave into after just obsessing over the videos that are all over the internets of
You've
Ben
seen the
Platt.
Colbert one, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Of Ben Platt, right?
Yes.
Ben Platt doing numbers on the Colbert Report where, what's it really
The For
called?
Forever one. Yeah, For Forever is the one where he is like on the verge of crying while he's singing his song.
Yeah, and
just every little twitch, and you can tell that he has just crafted this character and lives every little like bat of the eyes and every little like hand twitch and every little like
And
so
the
good.
interviews that I'm reading with him and the comments from absolutely everyone, from Neil Patrick Harris to like people that are going backstage to see him, to the write-ups, to like all the different things that he needs to play this, and the fact that he's kind of messing with his permanent posture from the way he stands to be an insecure, shy kid who's going through this transformation, that he's working with someone to help him like stand funny and still sing these fantastic songs by the guy that gave us it's the La La Land composer and lyricist of Dear Evan Hansen. And now instead of having people whisper sing like they do in La La Land, now there's full-throated singing, and it's amazing. And Ben Platt really just a star turn of unheard of quantity. And you can see like 3 or 4 of the numbers. I saw some from Heidi and Coda or whatever those. Kathy Lee and
I
Hoda.
can send you. There's one from the Today Show where they sing.
This Is Us or whatever that is. It's just
You Will Be Found.
Oh, right. That's that. I have that from the Heidi and Coda show.
Yep, and then there's the one. The better version is the one from Seth Meyers where they sing. I'm not obsessed with the show at all. Where they sing Only Us.
Only Us,
which is
that's-
super cute, and I'm pretty sure that's from Seth Meyers. Also from Seth Meyers, he sings Waving Through the Window like everywhere.
Yeah,
you can find 75 different versions of that. But he did it really well. I think it was again at Seth Meyers, which I call it the spitter, because this kid is like singing and sweating and just like throwing it all out there. And I've been playing it at the bar for months, and we've been counting the spit.
Oh yeah,
'Cause, right.
He is all.
He's all in every performance, every
all
time.
all in, and like people are like hugging him and asking, and Neil. They said like the comparable thing that one of the reviewers was saying was Neil Patrick Harris in Hedwig, and then they listed one other one of just like a performance that's so raw and out there and always on stage. And Neil Patrick Harris was like, I appreciate the compliment, and yes, I did a lot, but I can't cry and sing like that. Like,
right,
this
like
kid
physically cannot do that.
Yeah,
I saw that
physically
quote.
cannot do what he's doing, and I don't understand how he's doing it. And they had like an interview with someone who just held him and was like, "Please tell me you're taking care of yourself." And like
one of his co-stars, one of the women that play one of the moms, does that every night. Actually, it's part of this really great write up from the New York Times. You can go find it. because you get 10 free articles a month from them before you have to subscribe
Yeah.
per device, as it turns out. So
Oh,
Yeah.
look at you.
I know.
Okay.
I ration them very carefully
like that.
sometimes. But yeah, one of his co-stars that plays one of the moms is kind of momming him because it's so physically challenging for him to do all this and so emotionally challenging. So she long hugs him. You know what I mean? Like, we'll at the end of the day or at the end of the week, we'll go and find him and grab him and just hug him like
Yeah.
extendedly and say, please tell me you're taking care of yourself. Like, make sure you eat, make sure you sleep.
Because he lost
Take the
30
day
pounds.
off.
He lost 30 pounds for the role to make
Oh my
sure that he
gosh.
looked like a fidgety kid
Oh wow.
who was like emotionally damaged, and the music is just phenomenal. Like, and like just listening to it today, and like then I was going on YouTube in between songs to see if I could see him singing it live, and the transformation of him from playing Elder Cunningham
Sure.
in the Book of Mormon, and he started off on tour sometime around the time it was here. I don't know if I don't know what that time frame is, but he started off on tour, and that's what made him not go to college. And then he got to Broadway and played it for a year, and he did it kind of chunky. Lost the weight for this, did it in like all kinds of previews and different things, and just amazing what he's done. And when you see him sing these songs, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like, and you can just hear it. And he does what's the big song in the second act where he finally confesses?
Oh, it's I haven't listened to it for a while. Hang on, let me bring it up.
Anyways,
I see that. I did not. We'll look at that. Spotify. Best $13 I
Well,
spend every month.
While
Search.
these two are looking for that, did you and your mom enjoy Book of Mormon?
Oh, absolutely did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wasn't that
Yes, that
fantastic?
was very enjoyable. I need to see it again.
Yeah.
And I was telling Al yesterday
fail.
when I was talking to him though one of them gave me the soundtrack to Hamilton. I haven't listened to one song,
Right.
but I've listened to Book of Mormon probably 7 times all the way through.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Oh, Words Fail. You
It's
found a
so
video of
good.
Words Fail?
No, I have not found
Oh,
it. But,
okay.
just hearing.
Wait, how do I not know about this? I have all the alerts turned on.
I know. I've seen pictures of him singing "Words Fail," and that's the one where everybody's like, "How
Loses
does he
their
do
mi-
that?"
yeah.
And listening to it, it's so
hard.
emotional.
I know.
As he confesses, and it's based on an incident that happened in the one writer's life where like someone committed suicide in high school, and in the age of like what must have been MySpace at the time, because I said it was like 9 years ago.
I would imagine.
Not everyone, but all these people tried to make up imaginary connections of how they were friends with
The kid who died.
the kid who died, and mix themselves into the story to make themselves more important.
Okay.
And this is kind of that, where he is inadvertently, based on a misunderstanding, placed in a suicide story. Someone he goes to school with commits suicide, and because of a mix-up of information, people think that the suicide note in his pocket is a letter to Evan Hansen, and that's how it all starts. And he kind of plays along, and he finally has to confess that he was just doing this because people were finally paying attention to him and his own sorrow and the fact that what may or may not have happened to him. And it's heartbreaking. And like the opening number is two parents singing about, what's it called? I need a map for this.
Anybody have a map?
Anybody have a map for this? Is like, one's trying to figure out like why she can't get in touch with their son when there's only the two of them. Like, why can't they connect? What's going on? Does anybody have a map of how to do this? And the other one has this kid that's stoned and kind of a dropout, and like, does anyone have like, and both parents are singing like, does anyone have a rule book or something that I can read to tell
Somebody
me?
help me, because I don't know what the fuck
I
I'm
don't
doing.
know what the fuck I'm doing, and I'm dealing with a teenage child. And to hear these two moms, and that's the opening of the show, and you're immediately just drawn into this story and these characters, and you feel for them, and just immediately you fall into the trap. It's just a beautiful soundtrack, and these guys really can write. They didn't write the two songs from Smash that I thought they did, but they wrote a couple songs from Smash. They wrote the Dogfight the musical, and they have one goofy thing that they wrote that kind of surprised me. There's one, like, they did one really goofy show that I can't think of what it was, but I was like, really, that? So there's that. And then I got the Hello Dolly original cast recording, because I wanted to hear Bette Midler's take on all of these songs.
Of course you did.
Sure.
Very fun. I have not listened to So Long Dear yet, which I'm kind of saving as a treat for tonight when I get home. So I want to hear her take on the straight up comedic, wave your little hand and whisper, so long, dearie, so long, dearie, so long, where she just tells him to fuck off. And I just wanted to hear her take on that because it's a character song. It's one that you don't have to like belt to the rafters. It really is a fun song. So I saved that. But all the other songs, just lovely. And it's Gavin Creel and all his beautiful
Super
singing.
cute, yeah.
And David Hyde Pierce has a song that they brought back from the original. But so I wanted the physical CDs because I wanted to read the librettos. I wanted to see what they had in there. And they have the whole story of Hello Dolly from Gower Champion getting on board and David Merrick and his problems with being like some just strange guy off the street who decided he wanted to be a Broadway producer and just started producing Broadway hits and just would throw money at every problem. They said he walked around with a passport and a toothbrush in case there was word of anywhere in the world a show was going on, so he could fly there that night and pay the people for the rights to it before anyone else even knew there was a story. So he's like my new idol. I just love that story.
You should become him.
Yeah, and just the fact that no one took him seriously in the U.S., but when he would travel abroad and go stock a show, they just loved it because he was willing to throw money at the problem and bring them to Broadway.
No?
And he would be like, we'll figure out the problems later. And so that's how he brought the Matchmaker with
Matchmaker.
yeah, but different one, but strangely came around at the same time. It's same year. Fiddler on the Roof and Funny Girl are all the same year as Hello Dolly. So just like the momentum of this show starting, how they got Jerry Herman on board, that it was written for Ethel Merman, but she didn't want it. Like just the crazy stories. So just reading the pamphlet.
That's fun.
The liner notes was fantastic.
Did Ethel ever record anything or sing anything from Hello Dolly?
That
we know of?
I don't know. It's probably somewhere
'Cause
somewhere on YouTube.
I can hear her belting.
But because it was written with her voice in mind to start off with, which I didn't know,
I didn't either.
that when it came time towards the end of the run, I think she was the final person to play it. They put a couple songs in to the show just for her that they had taken out because they didn't fit Carol Channing. And the genius of the Pearl Bailey thing. And the fact that Merrick's one goal when that show opened was it will outrun My Fair Lady. My Fair Lady was the longest running show on Broadway up to that point. And he was going to keep that show on. And that's why he kept doing this. And he introduced stunt casting. He introduced the just keep trying it. And the fact that he wanted a national tour up and on the road as fast as possible. All the people that they considered, who they put on the road, what they made, who they could.
How thick is that liner?
Oh, it's huge. It was a day of reading. It was delightful.
Yeah.
And it reached the level of nerdiness. But an elegance, which is it's one of the best theater songs. It's so much fun. It's so charming. It's cute and fun. It's one of those things that whenever it comes on into a piano bar or a show tunes bar, everybody can sing their way through.
Yeah.
And the four people, Gavin Creel and on and on and on. It's just a delightful song. So it's fun. And before the parade passes by, sorry, Babs already peed all over that. That song is dead to anybody else that goes near it. Like you're just not gonna do what Babs did with Before the Parade Passes By. I don't know how to help anybody. You should probably just not record it.
No.
You should probably
It
just
should
go
probably
home.
say go find Barbra Streisand's version. So that's your little thing to get ready for the Tonys, because I really, although they said that a few years ago about what's his butt from Company, and then David Hyde Pierce won the Tony for Curtains.
Sure.
I really don't see anybody stealing Ben Platt's Tony this Sunday.
I don't either, and it's best musical maybe, but Ben Platt's, I think that has to be his. Like,
Yeah.
who else is going to take that? Because he's up against Gavin Creel, David Hyde Pierce,
guy-
Josh Groban,
And then the guy from Groundhog Day, who they said
Right.
is the only like serious dark horse that might come over. But that David Hyde Pierce card, they just said because he got a Raul Esperanza, what the hell's that guy's name from that did Company.
oh sure,
And even when David Hyde Pierce won his Tony, he was like, "Did you guys just not watch that performance? Because he did Being
that was
Alive."
really good, right?
Yeah, he was like, "I cried through that. Why did you vote for me?" And that, you know,
Sure.
I happened to see the Company with that guy's name, who I can't remember, and he's so cute.
Yeah.
But when he finished Being Alive, I was like, how would anyone else win that award? And the night at the Tonys, he was even better than the night that we saw him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, anything could happen, because the voting on the Tonys is a blue ribbon. It's the old way they used to do the Emmys, so God only knows what could go on.
Sure.
But we're pretty much assuming Bette Midler and Ben Platt will be our winners. Like,
Yeah. I'm pulling for, though, Best Musical. I'm pulling for Come From Away.
that's my next thing to be obsessed with, but I really don't see it happening.
Be emotionally prepared.
I honestly think they want an Oscar and a Tony in the same year. I think that the narrative of the awards just kind of plays to these two guys who are just getting everything right
Sure.
on the regular. I only had a couple.
I'm still hoping.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. The Keepers. Somebody's got to tell me what network this is on. I'm pretty sure it's Netflix, but it may
It's
not
on
be.
Netflix.
Netflix.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Keepers is your next obsession.
Yep, I agree.
Be ready. It
right.
is true crime story implicating the Catholic Church and child molestation and serial rapists and all these things that went on. It's about the
fucking
killing of the unsolved murder of Sister
Kathy Cessnick.
Sister Kathy.
Yep.
Cessnick.
And it's just I'm 1.5 episodes in, and I honestly did not want to come here
and
today.
Joyce Malecki there too.
Yeah, and just everything that's going on. And I think Amina
that.
sent me the link today too, that everybody that's hearing about this is ready to be
it's
ready to go. So just get ready with your Netflix subscriptions. You know, once you've laughed too much, you're too happy from
Kimmy Schmidt. And Schitt's Creek.
Just Kimmy Schmidt, it's too much.
I know. That's why it needs another watch, because I know I missed all of the jokes.
Yeah.
I only got like the peaks of the jokes.
The fact that she's dating Robert Durst is just fucking wrong. If there's not enough fucking wrong. Okay, so you covered that one, so I'll cover this one. So then in a very upsetting and really bad choice of words in an interview, Bill Maher just shit the stage last week. In an interview with a Republican congressman from Nebraska, just went wrong and not just used the N-word, but used it in the worst possible way, and in a it was startling. It was a startling turn of events. This guy's been my idol for 20 some years now, so I was shocked at the breach, and I'm like, how stoned were you when that came out of your mouth? And he's been skating along in the Islamophobia for a while, and it gets a little, the whole I get that you're down on all religions, but the fact that you just keep pushing that one button a little bit harder, and I knew he could have been in trouble for how far he went with Sarah Palin.
Sure.
And I think someone talked to him, and he kind of went back, and you just come off as, yes, she's awful, and so is Michelle Bachmann, but at some point you have to get past name calling and go on substance, because he did devolve to name calling with Sarah Palin, and I had to give it to Sarah Palin that he went too far. Leave that to Ann Coulter, but this one was even Fox News can take the high ground with this. Yeah, calling himself he wasn't a field hand, he was a house. And I was like, what?
Well, it was a back and forth with the senator, though, because the senator said, hey, we'd love to have you come and work the fields with us.
Yeah.
And Bill Maher said, no, Senator, I'm not a field hand.
And then, but just, I'm a house. And just, no one's got that prepared. That just...
Yeah, nobody was ready.
And it really was, it was terrible. So, I mean...
Yeah.
He apologized. I guess they deleted it from all subsequent. I guess they deleted it from.
You can't see it again.
You can't see it again. They've deleted it, but they go right to YouTube, because the grand poobah of HBO is I don't care how you see HBO. We just need to be the brand that everyone wants. Because enough people, if you got the money, you're going to pay for it. If you don't, you're going to go find us. We'll still be trending in what you talk about. So that went right to YouTube. So.
Sure.
But just a weird and odd moment. The misogynistic brand, I think he kind of had to own.
Yeah.
Because he went too far, and God knows enough people have argued with him about the Islamic phobia that's just really strange.
Well, I guess on Friday we're going to find out exactly how he addresses that when he comes back to the air.
And the fact that he apologized surprised me, but it was one of those things where, like, and I think it's the compare contrast. I didn't think Kathy Griffin, I just call her Kathy Griffith. I don't
Doesn't
know why.
matter.
I really thought she didn't have to apologize. I thought that was just strange.
I thought it was
and
I agree.
odd and
I
just
agree.
stand up like, I don't get it, but okay. Sure. If that's how,
Make that
that's-
statement. Go nuts.
if that's how you, but his, I really was like, oh, that's just not something you have queued up and ready to go.
Yeah.
Like you,
Like, where did that even come from?
yeah.
Yeah.
I really felt that the apologizing and then the subsequent press conference, it felt like the kid in the corner telling, "I'm over here. It's me too.
Right.
Pay attention to me." I just felt like there was a desperation from her that I just did not like.
And like I said, and as the conversation went on with other people through the week, who we were only hearing about it peripherally, everyone was under the same impression that she had kind of gone back to the fringes of the entertainment world. So maybe it was her way of getting back. But the Bill Maher thing was just,
Yeah, that was, and I don't like to hear anybody say it or use the word, and I realize it's used all the time in the musical industry, which they just say. But again, we as a gay community use words that we don't let everybody
Right.
else use either, or we don't like them to use it. But still, a broadcaster like him and who's been doing this a long time.
And
Well,
to
and
use
getting
it,
away with shit for a long time. I think that's
and to use it
a
in
big
that
part of it.
context was
Yeah.
where it was so like, it just had an ick factor to
Even
it.
if he would have just said, "No, I'm a house boy," that would have been vastly different than.
Sure.
And the word that I would have maybe put there is just as offensive. Like, I think if I had gone with what I would have, I don't think I would have gone there.
Did it start with an M?
No, a D.
Oh, I have no idea where you were going.
Yeah. And I just, because I've used,
Sure.
in all honesty, I've used a version of that exchange between, house servant, outdoor servant. I've used it, but I've used it in a different like, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of, it's just not excusable. Like, you're just kind of lost.
And I'm not saying that it's okay anywhere, but know your audience, know where you are, know all kinds of things. So yeah, that was startling.
But it's another thing. Does it have to be a career ender? No. But is it something that it's time for him to be like, okay, you gotta do a little soul searching and find out how in that conversation, how much, like, how did you get to that?
Right.
Because that's a little strange.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Just like I thought, like,
It was a senator, right? He was talking to, or congressman? Who was it?
From Nebraska.
What is this guy black?
no.
No, wasn't okay.
Which made it
Can't
even.
think of his name right now. I'll look it up.
Which I don't know. I can't imagine a situation where that got better or worse.
Right, that's what I'm
depending
trying to
on-
think
Yeah.
But I don't know what came before it. I was thinking if he by
chicken?
chance was a black man he was talking to, was there something else, like maybe even pre-show that they were talking about?
Yeah.
And he was making that just fell out of his mouth because it was a conversation that they were having previous. I don't know. It just, again, there's no way to make that.
Now
make
there's
that better.
There's
Sorry, Kat.
it just had an ick factor to
Agreed.
it. And
Ben, I'm gonna mispronounce it. Sassy.
Presumably a white
Republican Ben Sasse
senator
of
from
Nebraska.
Tennessee,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
Nebraska.
and I can picture
They're all the same.
I can picture him, and the thing is I thought it was Ben Sasse that said it.
Oh,
Ben Sass.
Sass. Yeah.
Yeah, I just looked up a pronunciation chart for it. So I assumed when I read the headline and then I watched it, but I also fell asleep during it. So
Like you do.
yeah,
happened.
I'm a little unclear how it played out for the rest of the show because it was the opening interview. So yeah, slave jokes too soon. And if like a slave joke would even be okay, but it was that context was just it's just nasty.
yeah. There's I don't know how you clean that up. There's
No. It's a lot of apologizing and a lot of what he says a lot of times that he gets away with because he says he does tour Middle America all the times. He does do the unfriendly places as like a voice of reason. But now you just what's her butt? What's the butter lady's name?
the butter lady.
Paula Dean.
Yeah, Paula Dean.
Paula
Paula Dean.
I said Howard Dean. What the?
We got there. We got there.
Yeah!
Don't.
Wasn't that his thing?
Yeah, but I mean,
Howard-
that's
I'm
thing.
just the bitch that
Like,
makes the biscuit.
A Southern lady in her late 50s, early 60s. Yeah, she's been around the word.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's no way she could, with any confidence, say on a stack of Bibles she's never heard the word or said the word. You know what I mean? She was put into an ugly place. Like, do I think she walked around her kitchen saying that? No. Do I think she got way too much punishment for it? Yes. But
My grandmother to this day calls this type of nut something
yeah.
Oh, I know.
extremely offensive.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I was at
What kind of
something
nut is that?
extreme.
It's a Brazil nut.
oh, okay.
Yeah, we were standing.
Toe of sorts.
Yes, we were standing in my aunt's kitchen, and my ex-girlfriend's mom, Gina's mom, who is the most small town Minnesota, New Prague, Minnesota, just as kind as can be, you know, and goes to the church and the whole 9 yards. And she all of a sudden said something about the Brazilian
The toes?
nut.
Sure.
The toes. And it was as though she went like that. I mean, like, it just was, oh my God, these are my favorites. She said,
Yeah. Yeah, no.
no, they're not. And everybody just kind of, what?
Yeah.
And she had no idea that might be wrong. That's just what they're called.
That's offensive. That's just what they are. Nobody knew where Brazil
Well,
was.
somebody told me that's what they were then.
Dionne Warwick knows.
But they
Yeah.
do kind of look like toes.
But not. I don't know. It was just weird, that kind of context where people think that
Yeah.
it's so. That's what they're called.
And
no, it's
so now
not.
to address where this went in the chat room. So and Amina says, if you notice that black people aren't making slave jokes, don't make slave jokes. And then Jenny said, she had an ick factor and it was shocking, but she did nervously laugh. I thought both things. That's where I landed. I meant that to both of them. That I was like, oh, that's not, that joke doesn't work. But I also nervously laughed, and then I kind of fell asleep. I don't know if I was like, I just don't want to see where this plays out because it's not going to be pretty for anybody.
Yeah. No, I get the nervous laughter part, but I can't remember who made the comment that in music the N-word is thrown around,
Oh,
right?
it's-
And
all the time.
It's there. But someone said,
And if he had used it like in a way that kind of conveyed like a rap kind of
yeah, but see, for
friendly
me, I
way,
look at
or-
it like he's white. Shut up.
Yeah, and I do too.
Yeah,
I
I
do
agree.
too. But
Just
but you could have made some kind of a justification if it was in
if I'm talking about Tupac and I'm saying the lyric,
like
Of
some
some-
kind
Even
of,
that I have an issue.
Yeah,
I
I don't-
just personally.
Sure.
there's not
I
a,
just don't want
I
to
already
say
made
it.
one
Yeah.
mistake on this show.
I just-
there's not
I
a
get
there's
it,
not a
but-
pretty way to get in or out of that, but I could I maybe could have been more on his side if it was in like
Maybe.
But I'd like this one I was just like "Wah." But you got to apologize and you move on. Like we did a show with Stacy
Yeah.
Yep.
that was
I
like
remember vividly.
that I like seriously we should be off the air because he threw that word out like 15 times and I'm
I
like
think I have blocked it in my head because I don't, other than him sitting there, I don't remember much else about that show.
Oh, I remember
he kept saying it.
all the time.
Yeah.
Couldn't even tell you what show that was.
Well, and there
Or
was
what it was called.
There was one show that
Brazil nuts.
Brazil nuts and missing fingers.
Wow.
There was
Toes
one,
and fingers.
Yeah.
Oh my
Well.
God.
some toes, some fingers, but yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a lot. It's a lot. I don't know. I read there was something that we did a show. There was a weather guy in Michigan, and I still kind of play it in my head every now and again.
Was it Blackie? The weather?
Oh my God!
Go to the Blackie weather
because
forecast?
he used there was something. There was that weather forecast, and then there was that led to the story. And it was then something on CNN where they, people that it's kind of like, someone who died of a heart attack. And then you look up and go, oh my God, that almost gave me a heart attack, to like their kid. Right. And you kind of go, oh, I wish I hadn't said that.
Right.
And there was something with this Michigan weather guy, a story. And then you could have heard a bomb go off. I think was
No, there was a CNN
CNN.
reporter. She was in a city where
Right,
a bomb
in
went off.
Boston. It was in Boston.
Boston,
It was in Boston.
right?
It was
and then
so quiet here.
They go,
you could have heard a
yes.
bomb
Bomb go off.
Yes, and she's not. We don't find her anymore.
No, and then there was something else that was there there was something
Huh?
with the N word.
Who?
Oh, I don't know.
There was something with the N word in a story,
I don't recall
and
that so much.
and as I was reading it, I was just reading the story. Like I didn't think I was doing it. I'm just reiterating. Like here's
On
this
the
part
show?
of it on the show, and I said the word in
Mm-hmm.
the context of what I was reading, and I felt uncomfortable saying it, and then looked up and saw the look on his face, and was like, "Oh, whoops."
Well,
And I don't.
Was
I
that the
think it-
gateway drug for Stacy?
No, maybe.
Is it your fault?
It might have been, but that was a long time ago, but that was one. Even saying it in the context of reading,
I
it
want to
was
say.
uncomfortable.
I want to say. Was there something in reference to sand? Was that you were talking about? Was there some reference? Was it sand?
No.
I can't recall. Who are you thinking it was?
The bomb lady's still on NBC Nightly News. She's still on there.
Oh, this
she
was
still
she was
appears.
the one I'm talking about was on CNN.
Yeah, she was on CNN.
We're talking about CNN, unless she changed networks.
She
but
did. She's on like NBC.
I can't
Nightly.
think of her name, but literally, she's standing there.
Yeah.
What's it like where you are? It is so quiet. You could.
Swore
It's like a bomb
went
went off.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, oh! Yeah. Things not to say in a
Yeah.
live shot.
Yep, absolutely. It's
Live
not
shots are
at
tough.
all.
They're tough.
They are just
Yeah.
like doing a live 3.5 hour show from a Central Phoenix location. Very challenging. Kat, you got 2 things?
Sure.
Let's do it. Boys and girls, it's a new segment you're gonna love.
2 things is what she brings. 2 things is what she's talking about. 2 things, important little things. That is what she's spouting out.
You just need 2 things.
That means 2 things.
Let's get 2 things clear.
And then 2 things about yourself.
And I've come to share with you one of 2 things. No, 2 of 2 things. We're sharing 2 things right now.
There are only 2 things I can't stand in this world.
Quick, grab 2 things you love.
It can be 2 things.
Only 2 things in the world I'm scared of.
Rise of frazzle 2 things.
Remember 2 things.
I believe in 2 things.
Guys are only after 2 things.
What's better, doing 2 things at once or just one?
Never half-ass 2 things. Whole-ass 1 thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kat Carlson.
Oh my goodness. Well, I have wonderful news.
Oh!
Wonderful news.
Wonderful.
For the people of Bowling Green.
Oh.
Thank God.
If you'll remember.
Yes. I remember.
The tragedy.
The tragedy
of Bowling Green.
Hashtag
The massacre.
Massacre,
Always.
my bad.
At
Always.
Bowling Green.
That's right.
Well, now the fine citizens of Bowling Green have something to look forward to. Something positive
Thank God.
has come to their lives.
They've had so many.
For the first time, members of Bowling Green's lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community will gather for a Pride Festival this fall.
Oh,
Yay!
I love it. Fantastic.
Everybody remembers their first
Yes.
Pride, and now those that are still alive in Bowling Green
Yes.
can experience
Well, and there aren't
theirs.
many.
In related news, the Republicans in the area actually call that the tragedy of Bowling Green.
Right. That's fantastic.
Well, that's cool.
Isn't that
I
wonderful?
wonder if there'll be Corvettes in their parade because
Now
that's
it's
the
going to
home
be
of Corvette.
if you're running the Pride circuit, it is going to be a late Pride, so
Okay.
you should be able to make it.
Okay, good.
It's tentatively scheduled for October 21st.
Oh,
It will be free, family friendly, and likely to feature vendors and information booths, live music, and speeches.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah,
That'll be exciting.
the application process is going going they say. And
Very
they,
nice.
They anticipate the whole show to go off.
I like
And
it.
why wouldn't you? Unless
Why
somebody
wouldn't you?
fucks it
Why
up.
wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And then the article, of course, because apparently I'm not sure where the Daily News is from, but explains what Pride is,
Oh, it's good.
which is lovely.
Because
Yeah.
you know
And
we
whole
love the
Stonewall
uneducated.
and yeah.
We have to explain. You have to explain stuff
Explain
to
it to everyone.
them. Yeah, right.
That part kind of made me laugh a little bit. I was like, oh, sure, for the 8 people that don't know what gay pride is about. Sure, sure, go for that. So that's thing number 1. I thought that was very happy for them after all they've been through.
Here's to Bowling Green.
Here's to Bowling Green. My
Thank
God.
After all they've been, the adversity.
Oh, the kofifi they felt when it
Nobody knows the trouble they've seen.
God,
That's
we're
terrible.
right back into Negro spirituals. Cheesy Pete.
What? I was singing Spaceballs the movie. Where were you?
Or South Park.
Yeah.
No.
Sure.
Nobody knows. No kitty kitty.
See?
No kitty kitty.
Thing
That's
number
my
2.
chocolate chili pie pie.
First of all, I want to say I love science. I believe in it.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a wonderful thing. Good on science brings us many wonderful things. However, how do people decide the bullshit that they study?
Yeah.
How do they decide that? Because here's what I've got. Just
I'm thinking drunk at a party and a hat. You just draw shit
right.
out.
Just yeah. Because as I'm on the internet this week,
Sure.
all of a sudden bullshit studies. I've got one.
There's actually a study on bullshit?
No, but
They're
tell
probably-
me this isn't some bullshit. Scientists pit sourdough against white bread with surprising results. The conclusion of this study, right? So they
paying for
because there's a thought out there in the world that especially people at risk for diabetes or like watching that glycemic index, right? Should eat sourdough bread over plain old white bread because allegedly there's like less gluten and the acids in the sourdough starter like give it a lower glycemic index rating, right?
Okay.
So the conclusion of the study says, well, yeah, sure, that happens in some people, but quite the opposite in other people.
Because
Maybe
everybody's
it's-
different.
Right. Conclusion, maybe it's more complicated than we think, and nutrition is individual.
Oh, that is the definitive outcome
Right.
of this study.
Right.
All right, well. Good.
Good. Well, now that that's settled, do we have to do follow-up studies?
Pumpernickel?
How much
Rye?
time and effort did you put into this?
I need to know all of the breads. We need to study all of them. I think butter can go on all of them. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Fair
Oh, a
point.
good piece of pumpernickel toasted with butter is delicious.
And then, no shit Sherlock study number 2 says that babies who sleep in their own room sleep better.
No.
Oh, I just saw that headline the other day. Potentially, babies sleeping in own room sleep better, and I'm like, okay.
His mom and dad aren't
No
snoring
shit,
and
Sherlock.
farting. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, right.
Right, because mom's not rolling over on you and making all their noise.
Sure.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dear
That's a good point.
science.
Yeah.
For crying out loud. I just can't.
I realize more and more every day that I think the whole world should be happy I don't have children because
and we are.
but because I realize that my short attention span that I've got going on with Maggie and Marty here.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and then the other thing is like I feel like all I do for them, I get up the second I'm mobile of a day, they think it's feeding time.
Right.
So it's feeding time then, and then all I'm here for is to pay the power bill so that they can come in the air conditioning in the summer, and then we're going to eat again at 6. So I realize every day that I do that, I laugh to myself because I'm like, God damn, this is just like raising fucking kids because all you're doing is you got a place to sleep and you feed them.
But
so
with good parenting, those kids could dust.
Yeah,
they
right?
can clean shit. They can have chores.
Yeah, but there's a lot
that
more.
Cat's not doing a fucking thing.
No, but there's a lot more responsibility, mostly legal, with
Yeah.
regards to the children.
And financial.
Fair.
Oh yeah, much more.
Pretty expensive.
It
those
doesn't
fuckers.
cost a hell of a lot to feed the 2 cats, but yeah, the kid. There's a lot going on there. I don't want to have
It's a
to
lot
deal with.
happening. Sure.
Listen,
But I know.
am no model parent. Did I not just recently
Right.
in this show say that I spent all
Shit on a
afternoon
shingle.
telling my kid that
Pooping
if he
his
didn't
soup.
start eating his fucking dinner when we made it, that I was going to serve him
Sure.
turds on toast.
Sure.
By the way, can we
There's
recap?
nothing wrong with
what
that because
was
we
the-
always called it
Let me
shit on a
interrupt-
shingle.
Let me
Sure.
interrupt your segment
Yeah.
for just a second.
sure.
What was the dinner that they were opposed to eating?
So it's
good
not
question.
it's not a specific dinner, which is the problem. So
Oh.
right, this kid's going through a very pessimistic phase
Okay.
in which all this kid fucking does is complain all the time.
Oh, is
About
he,
everything.
Is he 50? Because that's where I'm going. That's what I'm doing. Is he looking at?
He's
11 to 50.
He's 11.
There
right?
was no slam on you, sir. I just want you to know that. I just know where I'm going.
Yeah, and it's like it's become just it's gotten on my nerves around dinner time.
Okay.
Because I swear to God, I made we had lunch today. This kid loves what I served for lunch. It was just a plain like chicken salad, just the way he likes it, with the
lovely.
right dressing.
Oh
right.
my God.
The lettuce he likes, the dressing he likes, chicken on top, the whole thing, right? I'm thinking, I've got a winner for lunch right here.
All right.
This is what I've got. This fucking kid, he goes, what kind of chicken is this?
No. No,
Dead.
he did not.
The regular kind. Eat your fucking lunch. Well, I don't curse
The
at it very
bird
often,
kind.
but- right. The regular kind, the same
Wow.
kind of chicken. Well, the difference was I had grilled it instead of boiling it. Right. So there was a flavor difference, but I lost my mind because this has been going on for kind of a long time.
Okay.
Yeah. So lost my mind. Had a little bit of a
That's
fight
funny.
over lunch.
All right.
A little bit of a kerfuffle, and when it came back around and we talked it out and made up. I said, you know what? Here's the problem, dude. Everything I've put in front of you for months, you have a complaint about. So now I don't give a shit about your complaint. You're gonna sit the fuck down. You're gonna eat your dinner.
This is the older one or the younger
This
one?
is the older one. Yeah.
I don't feel that you have any pushback from the younger one.
No.
No, it's the older. Right. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, he's got his
right,
opinions and everything, but
but
not,
I don't feel you get
But
the
isn't
pushback.
the older one like hitting 13 soon?
he's 11 going on 12. Yeah.
We're getting right near that.
Getting pretty
danger
close, and
point.
he's
Yeah.
Next few years with Kat Carlson ought to be fun here on the show.
Oh my god, and he's awfully moody and lots of fun. Well, and we've never naturally gotten along. We've always naturally just fought.
Sure.
So it's gonna be that poor kid.
Well, the two alpha males in the house.
Right.
Right.
Good
call. Good point.
And
Good
parts
point.
of Sharon's family have this Little Prince thing that they do with him that just drives me
Is it
insane.
Sharon's family or the father's family?
Well, the father's family does too, but no, Sharon's family is the part that I see, and I'm like, are you fucking? This kid is 11. He doesn't need to pick all the restaurants. He's 11. You tell him where to go.
Right.
Somebody be the parent here. Oh no, I gotcha. Because they're hitting that awful age.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where if they get away with all that shit all the time,
Oh,
then
yeah.
it becomes
Yeah.
worse. Sure.
Yeah. That's when
Wow.
That's what. Yeah. 'Cause
Lots of
you're,
fun.
You're
Lots of
about
fun
to hit
ahead.
the slamming doors and just fucking stay in there. Part of parenting.
That's okay. That's okay. You know what?
That's my third book. Just fucking stay in there.
Because you're going to be writing a lot next year.
You're very busy.
I know. I've got a lot of books.
You do.
I'm
got a lot of
already,
titles. I
I'm
don't
already
know.
preparing myself for that. I'm really good at ignoring them in general. So I'm preparing myself for that
Yeah.
to just watch the storm happening and be like, that's nice.
Yeah.
The squirrels are in the attic again.
This time it's personal.
Well, I'm thinking if you give me a shopping list of everything I need, I'll get everything for chicken salad, and you can just stop by and make it. I'll be happy. I'll be fucking thrilled.
Yeah.
Well, when you
wouldn't complain.
watch people with their children in public, and I have this thing where I mentally in my head do, is that the fight you want to pick?
Sure.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Some of them are not.
Sure.
Right.
Like, because when the real fight comes down, if you're fighting about this shit over here,
Yeah.
and you cave,
Yeah.
and the
Stop
parents
having a pissing contest
oh,
about
and,
that kind of
and
stuff.
parents always cave.
That's my least favorite.
And I'm like, you know what I mean?
Well,
Especially
that's my least favorite.
No,
especially when
because
it's over like what someone's gonna
Girl.
wear, what the kid's gonna wear. Wear that shit to school. Everyone's gonna pick on you,
That's right.
and you're not gonna wear it again.
Right.
Like there is a time where a little social bullying maybe helps
sure,
you to be like,
is helpful. Yeah.
okay, you
Pull their
look
head out of their ass.
ridiculous,
Yeah.
and everyone you pass today is gonna
Well,
say
and,
it to you.
You know, we did the clothing fight for a
Absolutely.
hot minute, and then I started looking around and going, "Oh, all these idiots look like this.
Yeah,
Fine,
that's right.
Go,
or that's how you find out that
Yeah.
oh god, they're all doing that.
Yeah.
go. You know what? You're not the
only
dumbass in
rule-
class.
The
You're
only rule would be you're gonna pull up your fucking pants.
Right.
That's all. Like, just pull up your pants.
Yeah.
Unless you find out that everybody at school's pants are done like that, and then you gotta go like, is that the battle you want to fight? Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Every idiot's doing that. You're gonna grow out of it at some point.
yeah. And
It's fine.
I'm like, no, that would be the fight.
I don't think I could handle that. pants,
off
man.
the air, I'll tell you all a story. But there is that time with parents that you're like,
Yeah.
oh, you got to choose better battles than that because.
Sure. It's gonna be a long time.
Right, because you're gonna cave on those stupid ones. Because
Yeah.
when you realize it's stupid, you're gonna give in, and then when the big one comes along, you've already caved, so you got no.
See, and I have a really hard time caving. So once I decided to dig my heels in, too bad. We're gonna stand in this closet until you put on the
That's
socks I
right.
told you
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're right. If you give up,
So and then Amanda's bringing up some stuff about the orange monster.
Well, I sent some good news to Kat about the orange monster.
Well, the good news
Yes.
is that even though he pulled out of the Paris Accord, many cities across the U.S. and most of them big
But
cities,
the
including
biggest thing-
Phoenix. Okay,
The biggest thing.
I'm
happened.
just addressing
Yeah,
his
we
couple.
had
No,
we had
no.
a state.
Is
Hawaii.
that
He's also getting out of a Honda
Stand by.
Accord too. I didn't know if
Yeah.
anybody knew that.
But so
91.
if the cities do their
He's never
part,
seen a Honda Accord.
if the
Settle
cities
down.
do their part to keep clean air, and California especially, as we talked about that podcast from Pod Save America
Yeah.
with a live interview with the mayor of
Los
Angeles.
Right.
If Los Angeles and California stick to as the world's fifth largest economy or whatever they are, the fifth or sixth largest economy, if they stick to the Paris Accord agreements, whether or not the president does, and these other major cities, including Phoenix, our mayor Stanton just said he's going to keep up the policies, then it doesn't have his thing. And the healthcare bill is about to die.
Right.
I know
That's
there's
what I understood.
God willing.
Yeah.
that it's going to get to the Senate and die.
Don't lay all your eggs in that basket yet.
Right. And we thought that already, but all signs point to the Senate is just
All signs pointed to Hillary too. So
here's the thing.
That's where I get scared.
Yeah, I get scared too, but the one thing that they're saying is that the Senate is just going to present the body. This is the article that I read today that said they just, that way they can say, we tried to repeal it, we couldn't do it, but then what's
That's what they thought about the House. But everyone who's talking or podcasting about that says do not underestimate how evil Mitch McConnell is.
Sure.
Right.
Oh God, I completely
Do not
agree.
underestimate.
But they're saying he gave up.
I don't
was
believe he would ever give up.
But today on Pod Save America, they had
And I've been out. I haven't heard a podcast.
Chris Murphy from Connecticut. Who's the Sandy Hook senator? Is that Chris Murphy? Murray? Murphy? I think it's Murphy.
Chris Murphy for what? I'm sorry.
From Connecticut, I think.
Yeah, Pennsylvania.
Stand by.
Yeah, because the Murphy, that doesn't sound right, but it very well could be. By the way, Jenny says Trump doesn't think it's fair that the other nations get to be polluters and we can't also pollute to our
Chris
heart's
Murphy.
How
content.
smart am I? Chris Murphy from Connecticut.
Yep.
Anyway.
We are going to be the best polluters
Yeah, we're gonna be good at it.
ever. Best polluters.
Chris Murphy was saying that, believe it or not, the most impactful thing that everyday people, because they always ask like what should we be doing, what can we be doing, the more miserable you make your Republican members of Congress, your representatives, not your senators but your House of Representatives, the more miserable those fuckers are over this healthcare thing, the more likely the Senate's going to be like, no, we don't want that, nope, don't want any of that. So keep hounding your piece of shit congressman.
And it has to go back. Like, just even if the Senate passes something because it's completely different,
right? Then it has to go back.
It
and
has
pass
to go
the
back
House.
to pass the House again, and they're already, and that's why the death knell is kind of ringing for it. That
Right.
even Mitch McConnell is saying,
We're hoping,
"Nuh-uh."
but don't ignore it yet.
You were talking about you're going to build a coal power plant in Kenya, and I potentially would understand that from the standpoint of other things aren't available. I could get that. Now, one of the things I found funny, and I mentioned this a couple weeks ago when all of this, clean coal, which is bullshit anyway. But the couple things, one, I said that the museum in one of these cities that is for the coal industry just installed solar panels on the roof.
Right.
The goddamn coal, it's all solar panel.
Oh,
that's one. Number two,
that's the correct use of irony, by the way.
On CBS Sunday Morning, which I watch every Sunday because I just enjoy it. It's a news show. I skip past the headlines of the day and I go just for their feature stories because they're all good news. And I always find something interesting about it. Well, one of them was one of the reporters went back to, and I forget the specific city, they went back again to find out what the reaction was to these coal cities. And there were two or three men that she had interviewed. And she, they start the story and she's on the little train, whatever, that goes through the coal mines. So they've turned it into a museum. They're now, it's tourism for what was. And she asks them, like, is coal coming back? And he's like, no, there's too many other viable options.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, even they realize it. So I wish more people would realize that just because dumbass and a few, want to save our coal, whatever, they're all also realizing, okay, we realize the light at the end of the tunnel is not coal, it's solar.
And
it's
no
some
one wants to
renewable
go
energy.
down into the mines. That's the other thing that people don't realize.
Right.
It's
I've seen Chile.
Who are you gonna find to get down there? Right.
Right. That's not it's not a viable career.
No.
Because black lung killed off.
Well, and we saw the Chilean miners get trapped. And things collapse.
And there's
Baby Jessica.
Yeah, well,
there's
it was
a fast. I think it's CNN has a fascinating interview with 4 women who work in the coal industry, but not in West Virginia where you'd think. It's in a part of America that I didn't even know had coal. And the youngest one doesn't believe in climate change. She's the only one.
The youngest one.
The youngest one has no clue what she's talking about. She's an absolute idiot.
Yeah.
The older ones are like, we're for it, but he's saying they can pollute our river, so why would we live here? Like the one is saying this job is great, but he just told them they could pollute the rivers.
Right.
He just took the regulations off, so now we can't live here. He's not making it better for us to work when we can't live where we work, so why would we want a job?
And downstream, because everything flows.
So
However,
it's on CNN. There's 4 women being interviewed. It's really interesting.
let's not forget how much power your individual state has and
Right.
how much more you need to pay attention to
Right,
these next
right.
local elections.
Just because federal releases it doesn't mean local's
Right.
going to release it.
Because today, the great state of Hawaii has become the first state to enact a law that aligns their, climate goals with the Paris Agreement. Like they enacted that shit into law.
Yep.
It's just
We're gonna do
fantastic.
this. The president can do whatever he wants. That's fine. He's supposed to be leading the country. He's supposed to be setting the example and setting the agenda. But if he's not gonna, your state can. Your city can.
Love it.
Just because the federal government decides to not
Right.
enter into this treaty or that accord, like there are things that your state can do. All right.
And there's so many cities across the country that the governors, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Charlotte's one of them, that Charlotte is like, fuck this, we're going clean. Like, we're going with this.
Right.
But they're and Stanton just said, because like my TV's always on that stupid station, the local government station.
Stanton is our local mayor of Phoenix.
And he has said Phoenix will adhere to the stricter rules. And and I can't. One of those states with the coal was like, you're not polluting our rivers.
Right.
We just clean them up.
Right.
But I can't remember if it was Ohio. It's a
like
Republican
Michigan?
state. No, it's a Republican state. So it's either Ohio or it's West Virginia. Was like, absolutely the fuck not.
But it enables 45 and all of his little cronies to be able to say, well, we tried. We did
tried,
it.
the state's fine.
Dumbasses. The other funny thing was I watched
Was it Wyoming?
The Daily Show last night.
Wyoming was a state with the 4 women. And did they say that they weren't going to they weren't going to pollute?
I don't know, but they are actually the top producing state, the top coal producing state in the union.
Yeah, so
As it
that's where
turns
the
out.
4 women are from. And that's the one that said, we will not pollute our waters because Wyoming will stay clean. Like they fight the pipeline all the time because they don't want. Wyoming is known for having 4 people.
Yep.
They can have a license plate with 3 digits on it because there's that few people in the state, and the fact that you will preserve this land, even though we're all shitty white people. You will not fuck with our land, and they're because they have all those national monuments that they want to get rid of. So they're fighting. They're actually voting for him and fighting him at the same time. Because Wyoming doesn't, because they wanted to undo all those public lands. Like South Mountain is a national preserve. Wyoming is full of them.
Yeah.
And he wants to
sell them off.
He wants to sell them off. And Wyoming is like, we love you. Stay the fuck away from us.
Right, out of our backyard.
We like your racism. We like a lot of things about you.
Yeah.
But we also like to breathe air.
And what's her face? Cheney is from there. The non-lesbian
Lynn?
daughter.
No, Lynn, isn't it?
Yeah, she's a politician there.
Right.
And she is trying to have it 8 different ways.
I thought she was
That a
the
girl.
lesbian.
I haven't seen that since.
But no, the
VHS.
lesbian's not in politics. Whichever one is not the lesbian is in politics. And she fights gay marriage. Like, she's shitty. But then she's all about, like, keep Wyoming perfect.
Okay.
The Daily Show showed a map last night, and I enjoyed the whole show. I watched it twice, in fact. He showed a map of it's either 11 or 13 states that have already come out and said, no, we're going to stay with the accord, we're going to stay with the agreements, blah, 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 blah. So it's all of these border, like it's Oregon and it's California, Cheney. It's a bunch of the East Coast, all these states, and he goes, look at it. It's all places that are going to be affected if the ocean dries. Except Colorado. And it's just that they're so stoned, they're worried that it's going to get to them.
Yeah.
It was very funny. And then the other thing he was talking about is like, because California has already made a deal. Apparently, the governor of California has already talked to Mexico.
Jerry Brown.
Right, Jerry Brown's already talked to Mexico. And they're like, you want to in on this? We're just going to do our own deal, and we'll just be with you. And everybody's like, okay. So it's so funny how all of these other places are just like doing their own thing and working it out.
Right.
And I also think it's funny, even Schwarzenegger said it. When they were coming through with all these regulations, they have to relax it because it hurts the economy, it does all this shit. And even Schwarzenegger was like, it already works in California.
Yeah.
If you would just do it everywhere else, you'd be fine. But they don't want to do that. Oh my God. Can't begin because they want to look like they're doing something to help people But they're not doing shit.
He was a Republican in California, which is pretty much a left-leaning Democrat just about anywhere else.
You
know what I mean?
Democrat, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Because
other
when you
thing
hear
I-
his policies, you're like, how were you?
The other thing that I heard in regards to this Paris Agreement was with regards to the implementation of it and with what he said, if I'm not mistaken, it actually it doesn't do anything because it actually doesn't start taking effect until like the next term or something down the road.
Yeah, that's I'm going to make this a little bit bigger topic and make it go to something else too. So reality TV has fucked us up.
Oh, yeah.
In more ways than one, but we are all, whether we want to believe it or not, we are all waiting for the big drop that's going to change everything. We're waiting for the big testimony that's going to, Trump's going to be out the next day. We're waiting for the big thing. Those things don't actually happen in real life. That's on House of Cards.
Yeah.
Right. Good editing, because that's good editing.
That doesn't happen
Our story.
in real life. So the Paris Accord, the way that it's written for anybody to withdraw, as it turns out, if we start the withdrawal now, then that becomes effective right around the next presidential election, as it turns out.
Okay.
Yeah,
Something
like that week or the week after or something like that. Like right around then is when that takes effect. You can't just say, nope, fuck you, Paris, we're out. That's not how these
And then
international
just start
agreements work.
dumping shit into the strippers' river.
Not
Shitty river. Yeah. Yeah, I like that about how he acts like it's not going to be done immediately, and then something else that he did yesterday where he was saying whatever the hell it was, and he signs two things, and that means absolutely nothing because the president can't change it. He just says it and makes it look like he's the powerful, and it all has to go through.
He's been doing all of that.
No, true.
Yeah.
But again, somebody else today was talking about the fact that whatever he said yesterday, he can't even do.
And so when on Thursday you're watching the Jim Comey testimony, waiting for the secret information and the mic drop and the gotcha moment, it's super not going to happen. You're actually not going to hear anything you haven't already heard.
Sure.
You're going to hear him say a lot of things like,
I plead the fifth.
No, because
No,
Jim Comey didn't do a damn
No,
thing
I know.
wrong.
He didn't.
He's not pleading on his own behalf here.
Sure.
But you're going to hear him say a lot of things like, I can't comment on a current investigation. I can't comment on that because it might impede the ongoing investigation. Like you're going to hear a lot of that. It's not going to be exciting. It's not going to be the Super Bowl like I saw one fucking article trying to call it. It's super not that. It's going to be...
Oh, you're kidding. I haven't seen that.
Oh,
That's
yeah, they called it
ridiculous.
the Congress's Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl of
God.
Washington. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's none of those things. It's important.
Yeah.
What he has to say is relevant and important, but not as relevant and important to Congress as it is to the FBI.
Okay.
It's not going to be the end of days on Thursday. This is not the day that we get him.
Yeah.
It's a long time coming.
Well, and
it took 3 years to impeach Nixon.
Oh, absolutely.
And like I said, what they started investigating Clinton for when the impeachment came out, he hadn't even met Monica Lewinsky when the actual investigation started.
That's right.
What he got impeached for and what the investigation were about had nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
And it really is. It probably is just going to turn into wait 4 years and find out who the Democrats are going to run.
Right.
And
I think it's a scary piece, though. I think that's it. It's all the fear factor kind of stuff because. No, it can't happen for 4 years, right? It's right around the election.
We can't do this for 4 years. But
no, but you can do a lot. You can do a lot in 2018.
You can do but there's a lot of damage that can be done just by people believing that this stuff can be done.
Right,
overnight. The voter kind of people. Sorry.
But the president has already proven to be fairly ineffective with a government that's on his side, like with his own party.
Yeah, they have the House and the Senate.
They
and
can't
still can't
get shit done.
Sure.
And he's sabotaging his own travel ban. Because now Sean Spicer today said that what is tweeted is edict. Like he is the best communicator, and that's what they're going by. Is he's calling it a travel ban. He's picking something out, and they're so Sean Spicer today said, "Yep."
My favorite day in this last week, as far as that clown show goes, is when Sean Spicer, the spokesperson for the president for the White House, no, said, "I can't speak for the president."
Right.
That's your whole fucking
That's your job.
That's literally who you are
Yeah.
What kind of a shit show? Yeah, so it's it's a dangerous shit show. It's certainly nothing to be like blown off. But the people that can stop it answer to you. They allegedly partially live in your district.
Allegedly. Right?
I mean, they don't really come home very often and stay, a lot of them.
Right.
Not the more powerful ones anyway. But yeah. That clown show that's the House of Representatives is the thing that stops so much of this. And so keep yelling at those people.
Okay.
All the time.
Sure.
All the time. But stop waiting for like the season finale to be on Thursday, because it's not.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
No, and my theory on that, even though I'm looking forward to it, because he needs to do that, I feel that him and Mueller had a conversation, and that's exactly how it's going to go, because Mueller's like, you can't comment. Anyone he comes like, nope, I can't. So he's going to do it, appease everybody, and I'm glad he's doing it. But I'm not looking for a mic drop moment either, because what's going to happen later is then when the investigation, when they do all their stuff behind the scenes that we're never going to see and potentially never hear all of it,
that's fine.
That's when those conversations will happen, where he will tell them everything, because they're in those special rooms, or they're whatever chambers are that investigation, they can discuss it.
But there could be a bombshell of, he did ask me to lay off. Like, I don't think that affects any ongoing investigation.
Jim Comey saying that to Congress under oath is like kind of a bombshell. He already said it in his notes.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? His notes are, the way that he takes them and keeps them are admissible as evidence. The director of the FBI, who takes notes after every meeting, his notes are evidence of that meeting. Right? So he's already put that in his notes. So all he has to do is say, yes, that happened.
Yeah. And that starts the kofifi. That really does get the ball rolling. And that's about all he could really say.
Yeah.
Because anything else would be about Russia, and they have to investigate that from so many different angles, and it seems to be so far-reaching and deep that it's not going to end tomorrow, and it may not end in the 4 years. But everybody has to start thinking about who is going to step up. Like, you don't want to lose Warren in the Senate,
right?
Bernie Sanders, if he could get his head out of his ass, could be a very effective senator.
He's getting really old.
And now we're past the point. Like, the best when used by date is kind of past.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, that
like
the
he
interview
still smells okay. But
the interview with that mayor of Los Angeles could make a strong case if he could get some momentum going or get himself going. The deputy governor of California, Gavin Newsom, he could really get some momentum going if he started playing his cards right. So we're almost at that phase. Like, we're just a little bit away from the cycle if people have to start getting their name out there. Cory Booker, I think, is doing well.
Yeah,
but like people like Al Franken, he's proven himself to be too good of a senator, and people don't realize the power of having that opposition in the Senate. You don't want to lose that. You don't want no-name senators that aren't on committees.
Yep.
You want these people that are on committees that know something. And
I agree.
Warren causes havoc because now she's...
I like to watch her interview people.
Yeah, and one of the good things about her is she's in that Hillary Clinton position, where Hillary Clinton was a very popular senator on both sides of the aisle, because if she showed up to whatever your cause was back when people worked together, so Republicans would go to her and want her to co-sponsor a bill because her name was attached. The press showed up. All of a sudden, your bill got a little traction. You got a little something for what you were building. Right. And that's what Warren is kind of lending to stuff now. She adds an air of credibility. You've got some kind of economic, whether you agree with her or you disagree with her, she's got economic clout.
Yep.
Right.
Like, she's got the clout of that degree in economics. She can argue the shit out of something, and you don't want to really lose her, because when they go on the campaign, they don't vote anymore. They don't show up for committees.
I think somebody that could be really good, and it's a name that isn't really thrown around a lot, but is Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota.
And she is, because they keep mentioning her on Pod Save America. Like, she's,
are they?
Yeah,
because she really is something.
They throw her name out all the time, and I'm not exactly sure.
I'm not sure if Meow's still listening, but I wonder what
Congresswoman, right?
Right, from Minnesota.
From Minnesota, yeah. Pod Save America mentions her, and so does 538.
Yeah,
they mention her quite a bit.
She's been on Rachel quite a bit. She's something. She's very much so. That is another name to kind of watch out.
Yeah.
that
It's,
I could
it's a
see
long
her
time
doing.
till 2020 though.
It is.
Like we can
But you gotta
play
see
the name
who's-
that horse game for a long
Right, but because
time.
we've known about Hillary running for 8 years. Like,
Yeah.
we knew in 2008 she was going to run. We knew in 2016 we were just waiting for her to throw her hat in. So everybody's been waiting in the wings. Like, does Andrew Cuomo step up? You know what I mean? Like, now there's people, but somebody has to start getting themselves in the news cycles, get the name brand out there. We don't even know. Will someone primary Trump? That's perfectly... you know what I mean? Like, depending on how his approval rating goes, we could go through a Jimmy Carter where Kennedy legitimately primaried him.
Mhm.
Like, we could go through that, and that could end that would be bizarre.
A whole other weird
But wouldn't it be
place.
fantastic if he got primaried out? If Trump didn't make it through the primaries?
God, that would be
it would be unprecedented.
I'm so tired of unprecedented.
I am too.
But it would be
I'm okay
fantastic.
with
That truly would be, though. I don't think anyone's ever been... I don't think it's ever happened.
Yeah. Challenging a sitting president.
Yeah,
It's hard.
that would just be fantastic.
But it has happened, and it happened quite a bit that they've done it. And if they waste time that way, that's fantastic.
Good news. Good news.
I would like that. I would like that.
All right, what's next?
I want to see what.
Marty's trying to catch up in the chat room. So am I.
Yeah.
but it's
Read
all right.
faster.
Yeah.
Read faster.
I hadn't looked up yet.
And I mean,
Type
that's
slower.
I had said that earlier. California is like the 4th or 5th largest economy.
Sixth.
Is it 6th?
Sixth.
It's kind of like us. We're either the 4th, 5th, or 6th largest city.
We're the 5th officially again.
Yeah.
I would say that varies.
We just
Year
we
by
just
year.
were
We got-
reinstated as the 5th.
No.
So there you go. We're gonna do this because Marnie apparently had a good question. So here we go.
All right.
And now, thoughtful vulgarity, where we in the studio try to make ourselves slightly less shallow, which is not hard to do. We will ask one question of the panel while fucked up drunk. Because you know at home how well it goes when important questions come up several hours after alcohol has been served. Politics, religion, why not? What could possibly go wrong? Who could you offend? Good luck.
If you could read one book.
Oh, if I could read.
Yeah, if you could read.
Well, and that I figured Clayton would have a whole lot, a litany of things.
Yeah,
that,
you could read
know.
one book over and over again forever. What book would it be?
God.
Oh my gosh.
I don't read as it is.
Catalog.
Reader's Digest.
Yeah.
So my deal is that it's either Catcher in the Rye or To Kill a Mockingbird. Those would be my two, and I'm not. And it says pick one, and that I'm like, ah. And there were people that apparently with this question, like, were like, you can't fucking make me. Like, they were trying to answer this question. Someone posed it to them. They're like, people get very upset about that. Don't make me choose.
I'm not upset.
You're not upset at all.
I got no dog in this fight.
But yeah, I think it would be Catcher in the Rye.
And I don't get the appeal of that book.
No?
Yeah,
It's between those two, but I think that would be.
I don't think I remember what that one's about. Because I always people say Catcher in the Rye, and I think about the storyline for Where the Red Fern Grows.
Oh no!
I mix those two up.
Yeah, no.
Which is terrible. No one ever needs to read that book again.
No, like
Poor
Holden
Dan,
Caulfield
poor
is
Anne.
just. Oh God, I see, and I've never read it or seen that because I can't. I just can't.
The one gets her guts ripped out by a raccoon. The other one dies of sadness.
Oh, I can't. Oh, I can't. I just can't. I can't. Oh, it's terrifying. It's just terrifying.
And Catcher in the Rye to me, I just want to be shut the fuck up. Like I didn't like any of them.
There's like the angst.
Yeah.
Whatever, that kind of thing. But there's just something so hopeful with, and awful and hopeful with To Kill a Mockingbird. That's why I'm like, but
yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, if I could put them together.
An angst-ridden trial, yeah.
Exactly. That would, Catcher in the Rye.
Can I choose, and I haven't even read it yet, but can I choose the book that is the compilation of all of Obama's speeches?
Ah, nice.
Oh,
because I feel like that would be a good,
great,
because my problem is I'm not a rereader. There are
Me either.
very few books in the world that I've read
You're
more than
right.
once.
You're right.
But very few. That means you have.
I can't think of one.
Oh, okay.
So there have to be some out there, but I cannot think of one that I've read more than once. And like I remember lots of books that I've read. I just don't feel the need to reread them. But I feel like something like that, like an anthology of, like pertinent information or inspiring words, would be something that I could stand rereading over and over again.
Yeah, I like that.
Chicken Soup for the Soul.
No.
Oh, oh God!
Who moved my cheese?
What's oh God! What's the?
Fuck you and your cheese.
Everything I learned. No. It was on fire when I laid down on it. By the guy that wrote Everything I Learned in Kindergarten or whatever.
Okay,
Everything
right.
I Know
Yeah.
I Learned in Kindergarten.
Yeah.
But he wrote the sequel to that. Is called It Was on Fire When I Lay Down on It. One of the funniest, most touching. I mean, I'm not offering that up, but I'm just saying if that's
Really?
it's a book to pick up if you like inspiring stories.
Sure.
It's just a lovely book, and I read it at Christmas at an airport and cried like the whole time at like the touchingness of his stories and like the pertinence.
I like that. How about you, Clayton?
I don't really have anything in this. I mean,
A John Deere manual.
Yeah.
no,
there
no.
you go.
That's
There you
always.
go.
I enjoyed the last couple books I actually read a couple years ago, where they weren't really stories, but I've always enjoyed the humor of George Carlin.
Oh yeah.
So reading the one that I was surprised, and I actually like several times I found myself crying in the book, and then especially at the end. Oh God, why can't I think of it? It's the story of his family and his dad, and when he lost his dad, and just growing up, like literally as a kid, growing at the whole thing, and about how he lost his father. I've got it in the living room. I can't remember the
George
name
Carlin?
of the book. Yeah.
It's not When Will Jesus Bring the Pork Chops?
I did read that one, but is that the title of that book?
I don't know.
I'm gonna go grab it because I want to make sure I have the title right. But I did enjoy.
Is it Brain Droppings?
I don't remember.
Napalm and Silly Putty.
I did enjoy that too.
Last words.
I don't remember. I'm gonna go get it.
Three times.
But I just like his take on so many different things. Mm-hmm. And his stand-up was always wonderful. But just
there you go, Mina. I'm all about that.
Yeah,
he's funny.
But yeah, I don't read a lot of stories. I love stories.
Well, and the other idea is that it would have to be otherwise. If it's not either of those two, something real. And there's a movie, actually, that's going to be coming out for a book that I read that was some of the best writing. And it was called The Glass Castle.
Okay.
Oh my God. Like you feel like you're walking through this horror story with this woman who wrote this. I mean, it is just something. And they're coming out with a movie, and I'm still trying to figure out how they're going to do that. But
very exciting.
Let me see. I can't remember who wrote that. But what's
you know what
yours?
comedian's book I really enjoyed that I'm always kind of embarrassed to say it? It's Jeff Foxworthy's book.
Oh.
Like remember when he was like popular in a thing? His book was hilarious.
Was
at the
it
time.
really?
Yeah. I read that one on
Ellen
a plane at some
DeGeneres, my point, and I do have one, is one of the funniest books I've ever read. You know what I've changed?
Jeanette Walls. No, just to throw that out.
The Glass Castle. Mm-hmm. I've changed my answer. Billy Crystal.
I'm completely wrong on who I was talking about.
Different white guys. See,
Still
I told you they all look the same.
Still like the analogy. No,
He's a big dick.
This book, 700 Sundays.
Yeah.
This one got me because
that's a wonderful read.
It's a really nice book. The Silly Palm and When Do the Pork Chops Come? Or blah, blah, that I enjoy all of that. Still, I'll read almost anything that George Carlin puts out.
Yeah.
Not anymore because he's
Not
gone.
anymore. Still does.
But
That'd be weird.
This really got me.
Yeah.
And I tried to watch that on HBO, and it bored me.
Yeah, it was the HBO special did not do the book justice. I didn't find.
But it's really good. It tells the whole story of how
because
they
I don't
got
find the
started.
book to be as sticky as he. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I've changed my answer 100 times because like Jenny just said Steinbeck, and I could read if you made me read East of Eden every day for the rest of my life, I'd probably be fine with that.
Yeah.
But Stephen King, The Stand is one that I've read really probably 6 or 7 times, abridged, unabridged. I've wasted. Jesus Christ, the bags of popcorn just get bigger and bigger around here.
Gee, my God.
I don't mean
and so late in the show.
I don't mean to interrupt your thought,
I'm
but
hungry. I haven't eaten.
I thought I came with the party size.
Turns out there's a bigger party somewhere. So, but
Aaron and I split this from Costco.
So, it would be somewhere between the Hotel New Hampshire or anything by John Irving or The Stand by Stephen King, because both of them just wonderful characters and just take you somewhere on a journey.
The Stand is a solid choice. I approve that message.
But there's just something about
I've never read
Egg
that.
in the Hotel New Hampshire. What? And just there's just so much. It's so they're both just and you just but The Stand. It would be The Stand because I've read that so many times. And if I start that book, I have to go through all 1,200 pages. I can't put it down. It's just riveting.
Do you guys listen to Audible audiobooks?
My only attempt at that was A Confederacy of Dunces, which is a book I love, and it's turned me against the book. I hate that person reading it so much.
I see, and that's we have listened on road trips to some different books on Audible.
Mm-hmm.
If it's any kind of a memoir, fine, right? Like listening to Rob Lowe, read Rob.
Someone
Lowe's
reading
book.
in their own voice, sure.
Right, and that I like.
Oh, what? No, I take that back.
Tina Fey, and
but that was funny.
Loved. Yeah,
I take that back because David Sedaris reading it is not nearly as much fun as having him read it to me.
No.
They're not the same thing.
Right. And
however,
so,
if you try it with The Hobbit when you're driving cross country,
you'll crash into a tree.
You'll end up in a big fight by Flagstaff.
Because those books are
my
awful.
God.
There are very few books.
No, they're wonderful books. I love the books, but to
didn't.
listen to them in the car.
See, there's a fight already starting about the books.
Yeah.
Right?
Because I like just about anything assigned. I ended up liking it. Like I would begrudgingly read the first few pages, then fall in. But the Hobbit books, I wanted to beat the teacher with them. And Catcher in the Rye, I just didn't like those people.
Sure.
And I was like, but I was sitting next to someone whose life it changed. So I watched them go through the whole.
I think it was because it was my mom's favorite book, and she had said that. She had also told me that Grapes of Wrath was her other favorite book, and that makes me want to shoot myself.
Oh, but again, Steinbeck, and I love Steinbeck.
Oh my God, The Grapes of Wrath was awful. They asked me to write something about it when I was in
it's
college,
awful.
and I was like, well, chapter 1, the odd chapters, chapter 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, up to 4,721.
That he is windy in that one.
Right. But I mean, it's just the idea, every other chapter was the same.
Yeah.
And fuck the Jodes as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, but East of Eden, soap opera and delicious.
That was the only one that I just thought of.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, I love it. I love it.
I feel like maybe I've never read Catcher in the Rye because I can't, for the life of me,
Holden Caulfield, like a mental
bring it to my
institution.
brain. I'm reading the synopsis of it right now and going, I've never read this.
It's well written.
Like I've never read it.
It's not.
Oh.
The characters I wanted to kill them.
Apparently, every serial killer has a copy. I have one.
Interesting. I'm pass.
Yeah, it is a common thread. It does because of that angst and that.
That kind of freaked me out a little bit when I learned.
Yeah,
that.
I'm gonna go ahead and pass. Nope.
Yeah, and Jenny says I could
right
smell
there.
the Grapes of Wrath just paints a picture. It's
It
a
was
long
so
picture.
Long. And it was the same fucking picture every
And
other
I'm
chapter.
almost done with. I have
just for me.
2 chapters left. I'm in The Handmaid's Tale.
I'm so excited you didn't finish it because I had that book
But
in
I
my
fell
hand
asleep.
today and went.
I fell asleep on the
so
plane,
good.
and I fell asleep last night. And it's so well written. We're talking about a beautifully written book and very evocative.
But that's the problem. That's the cool thing. Not the problem. The cool thing with reading different things because, I was just all about it. I can't get enough of that. Same thing with Catcher in the Rye. I love that.
It's been 2 sittings, but like I said, I just got down to those 2 chapters, and I opened up the book on the plane, and it was the first time I had slept in that whole day.
Oh, sure.
And I was out, and last night I put the book in front of me, and I was done for 12 hours.
Right.
Good.
So,
Next week, I'm gonna get right on it.
Yeah.
No.
So you should read it. It's very well written. It's very interesting, and I like that there's no gotchas. You just gently get to what their names, because the first time you read one of their names, it sounds just kind of like Amish.
Right.
And then you put it together, and then as they describe things, and now I'm curious, and that movie was so bad. Yeah. The book describes things. And then I just didn't like the movie, so I didn't put the correlation together.
I haven't seen it yet.
But no, the movie with Natasha Richardson.
Not the miniseries.
And I just
okay.
disliked that movie so much that I never let those images come into my head. It didn't answer, what the hell is that birthing chair? I need someone to build that, or I want Margaret Atwood. Is that her name?
Margaret Atwood.
I want her to draw me a picture of what the fuck that looks like.
Right.
Yeah.
And the sex, so bizarre.
Yeah, totally. freaks me out.
So bizarre. Like there's so much imagery in that book that just haunts you, and you want to see it. It's
If you guys ever do read the Glass Castle, it's interesting. You know when you read something and you think somebody like if a movie does ever come out, like who would play that? I mean, what would that look like? Brie Larson is putting herself kind of back in a. I hope she doesn't paint herself into a corner.
Of always playing those people, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because of what was the
Room?
Room. Thank you. I'm like, what was the movie about the room?
Yeah.
God damn. Good
Called
for
Room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So our book club, I know we're a little bit behind, but we'll all get there. It's a short book. It really is an easy read. It's a fast, easy read as long as you're not mentally exhausted.
Right. Yeah.
I'm apparently grounded from the Kindle for a while because I went to pick it up one day and the Kindle, like the battery was dead. Then I picked it up another day and promptly fell asleep in it. Because I do that in books now, apparently.
Right.
I think I'm grounded from Kindle for a little while and I need actual books.
Right.
I know.
Okay.
That happens.
Self-imposed.
Well, the Kindle tells you how far you are through the book. That's very helpful.
So does holding the book and going.
I was told there'd be no math.
Well played.
Well played. For those of you who've never seen a book, you can actually tell how far you're going through it by looking at it.
The Kindle tells you how long it should take you to finish the book. Though. It says
meant
8 more minutes in this chapter.
Yeah.
I meant as opposed to the iBook, which does not do that.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, such lovely chat in the chat room. The engagers and the people who contributed. Thank you all so much. Hokey Smokes, Bullwinkle.
Great night.
We're all back again next week here in Studio C, so do join us if you will. And as we wrap up tonight's show, let's leave you with this parting thought. We will see you next Tuesday.
Thank you, guys.
You've been listening to The Show on Q Talk America.